Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TARDIS Zone, the Classic Who Zone, the Five Doctors watch along and discussion. I hope to find you all well this weekend, and we'll bring our guests on and we'll get straight into it. Yeah. So I hope everybody is doing well. So get you our copies ready, and when you have you our copies ready, I'll tell you to press 1 to let me know when you are ready to go. So just sending out the emails, folks. Hopefully we won't have many issues tonight with the computer because I cleared loads of the memory, so hopefully everything runs smooth. So as soon as we get our guests on, we're just going to get straight into it, and then as soon as we're finished, we're going to give our ratings and a little review of what we thought of the story, and then we're going to leave it at that. And then I'm off to spend a bit of time with the missus. Right, I think we're nearly there. I've sent Rabbi, Super John, Charlotte, Problem Being. Who else am I forgetting? I think that's it. We'll see. Right, so while we're waiting on the rest of the panel to get here, I'll give a few shout outs there. So hold on. Jeez, my mouse is playing up. Here, whoever else is supposed to be on the panel, I'll know when you pop up. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Don't worry, I won't be bringing any newbies on. So the link is in the chat for anybody that hasn't got the email that was supposed to get an email. Right, so who we got on the chat? We've got Tim in the chat. Problem Being is there, the Avenging Nerd. Dave travels through time. Do us a favor because the mouse is actually playing up a little bit. If you could just let me know who's in the chat there, and I'll give you a bit of a shout out. We've got Chris in the chat also. Welcome. As I said, anybody else that's supposed to be on the panel, I've put the link in the chat. We've got Vanessa in the chat as well. Retro Dicky is in the chat. Welcome. Sadako 24 is in the chat. Welcome. Disaster Areas in the chat. Which version are we watching? I'm assuming because it's Rabbi, he loves these special editions. we're probably going to be watching the special edition. I don't know though. We'll find out. We'll find out soon enough. Oh, he has his thumbs up. So special edition it is. So if you have the special edition with this, obviously with the updated special effects, anybody on the panel that doesn't have it, Rabbi, do you have it downloaded for anybody that doesn't have it? You do. So that's fantastic. Anybody on the panel that doesn't have it, Rabbi has it. So let him know in the private chat if you need it. The thinking is here as well. Let me know who's in the chat so I can give you a quick shout out before we start, because we're literally bringing on the guests and we're starting straight away. So let me know who you are. Let me know who's in the chat. Those upgraded special effects are sacrilege, says Tadako24. We've got Maz in the chat as well. Welcome, Maz1 in the chat. Welcome. Let yourself be known. Right, I'm going to start bringing on some guests. So, let's see who we've got, actually. See, I can't... Hold on. I need to fix this bloody mouse. Where is it gone? Oh, there we go. Okay. Grand. Right. Okay. Let's bring our guests on. Daniel's in the chat as well. Sorry. And is in the chat. I can never say it right, so I'm just going to go is in the chat. Jamie Tipton 1. I'm saying it wrong. Sorry. Welcome. No, how can you not shout out the one and only true Scottish Davros? I just seen his name there. As I said, the mouse doesn't work, and I asked people to let me know who they were in the chat so I could give them a shout out. Welcome, Terence Kent, aka Shelley. I just said hello to him there. Yeah, I got his name all messed up, or her name all messed up. So, because I'm an idiot. Right, let's go. Let's bring our guests on. Okay. Okay, that's funny. Yeah. Right. Everybody is sorted anyway. Right. Rabbi is sorted everybody else, so we're ready to go. So we'll bring him on first. He's come a very, very long way. Another planet, in fact. It's the Rabbi from another planet.
Hello. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good morning, depending where you are in the world. How are you, Noel?
I'm not too bad. Not too bad. What? Sorry?
I am somewhat spiffy myself, I have to say.
No, that's good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
What was I going to say? What are we doing tomorrow? I'm unclear.
We are finishing off Human Nature, Family of Blood.
Okay, we're still okay. I didn't know we changed schedules yet.
No, we're not changing now.
Oh, we're not. Okay, fine.
Because everybody seems to be happy with the way things are, so we'll just leave it. Why mess with something?
Although we really got some Christmassy watch-alongs. I saw you started some.
Yeah.
I'm really up for doing. I like Christmassy watch-alongs. We're doing Elf this week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't really like that movie.
I know. We've got to melt that. We've got to melt that cold heart of yours now. We've got to melt that heart.
Right, let's bring on the rest of our guests. We've got Charlotte joining us.
Hello, I'm just trying to download what Rabbi sent me right now.
No problem. We'll just bring on everybody else. But how are you doing?
Good.
That's good to hear. Right. Let's bring him on. It's the one and only. Problem being
humbug. Bah, humbug. Should have been Scrooged.
Yeah.
That's next week. That's week after. It's Elf this week after Scrooge, week after Bad Santa.
Okay. Oh my goodness, I'm going to be tripping out on these films.
And
I just love Christmas.
We got the real Super Doctor 2 joining us.
Welcome. Hello, Noel. How are you doing?
Not too bad, pal. Not too bad. And we got PD Rich also.
Howdy ho.
Okay, hello. So the version I have, I've shared with you guys is the 2007 DVD version.
That's
Which
the
has-
I got loaded.
We have like the ice cream cone thingy, time scoop.
The twisty one, Mr. Whizbit.
That's the one. I
Robert,
think
could
it's the
you
X-rated version.
send it to me on Rabbi, could you
Mr.
send it to me
Whiz-Tits.
on Messenger or Twitter?
Send it to your Messenger? No problem. Give me a second.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how many megabytes, just so I know when it's finished downloading, is this thing?
It's about 500k, I believe.
Okay.
Won't take that long. We'll talk about this story for a few minutes anyway. James Dawson's also in the chat.
I
Welcome.
do like this story. I think it's
Yeah.
my favorite of the anniversary specials.
It's the first
Yeah,
of Watchalong.
Yes.
First
It's
Watchalong
impressive
story.
how much they managed to fit in, and nothing feels like it's been shoehorned in.
Right.
That's what impresses me about this.
And
Yeah, you got 5
they
leads and they managed
had
to.
making it.
You got 5 leads and you managed to make it work.
And the companions.
And the companions. Chibnall will take note.
Yeah,
Good.
apart from
No,
Tom
no,
Baker,
no, I
he's on it very
I'm
briefly.
so excited. There's a big interview with him in Radio Times. I'm doing a video on that tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Cannot wait.
Just watching your previous video, Rabbi.
Mandalorian review. Mandalorian, freaking awesome. Oh my god.
Yeah, I heard it was good.
That was off the charts good.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh
So-
man, it's so good.
That show's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
It's really heading somewhere good now. Oh my god. I didn't love I've worked out why I didn't love last week. Because I don't think Rosario Dawson had Asako Tano's body language down. Right? Her body language to me didn't seem like Asako Tano.
Well, maybe she's older.
No, I understand. However, Bo-Katan really felt like her body language. So I was like, yeah, and look, it's fine. Look, she's an actress. She has to have an interpretation of it. I get it. But I think it's because Katie Sackhoff created Bo-Katan. She exuded her, right? She is her.
Yeah.
Whereas, this felt like it's a different interpretation from what I've seen before.
Fair enough.
That's basically where I am with it. All right. Listen. But this week, oh my god, even so much better. Really, really excited.
I look forward to watching it.
And the ending we're heading to is going to be awesome. I think they're freaking awesome.
Hopefully.
I think we're going to get all the big greatest hits of Mandalorian plus Jedi's plus Luke Skywalker.
Hopefully, I hope so. Well, I hope they do it right. That's the thing.
Yeah, well, they haven't done it wrong yet. So
Yet.
Yeah, but you've got to go off base the history of so far, haven't you? So you can't
Yes.
really judge by what other people have done. You have to judge off what these creators have done, and from what you guys have said, they've done you right so far.
yeah,
That's true.
exactly. Yeah, I have to say, the difference between Mandalorian and Discovery is this: that Mandalorian will do something that will have something there that doesn't make sense to me. Like, why is Boba Fett all of a sudden want his armor back now? Cobb Vanth doesn't have it. Like, what's up with that? Why is he all of a sudden he's decided he needed it back? Okay. Although I have to say, Title Victorious, take note. This is how you get people to buy your comic books and stuff. I now want to know that story of Boba Fett from the Sarlacc pit to the Mandalorian. That looks like an interesting story, right? And I would pay to see that story or hear that story or read it. But that's how you do a multi thing. Anyway, but by having a good central idea. But anyway, because there was something there that didn't really make sense to me, I wasn't mad about it. I was like, who cares? I'll probably explain it and everything else is great anyway. Whereas Discovery, well, they've got so much, animosity built up with just the horrible done with it. If they have something equally that doesn't make sense, I'll be not tolerant of it at all. So that's really the difference between the two. In my humble.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Well, Chris Berger doesn't reckon we'll see Luke. What do you think?
Oh, I do. I really do. I'm really excited. I mean,
But how do you think they're going to do Luke? That's the question.
I don't know.
Is it going to be Mark Hamill?
Maybe Sebastian Stan. Could be. Sebastian Stan's been the name they floated around.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they probably want to set him up for his own show or something.
Why not? And why bloody not?
Mm.
The streaming wars are like taking a new thing. If they tried to sell No Time to Die, the James Bond movie, for $600 million, right? And no one was buying, right? So what they should have done, in my opinion, is sold the rights to the entire James Bond canon and the rights to make James Bond related TV properties for 3 years for 600 million. That's worth it, right? That is what you make it like a James Bond freaking channel. Right, that has intrinsic value. Plus, you got the HBO Max. And HBO Max is like, guys, launch internationally, assholes.
Yeah.
7 million and business at 80 million.
That's crazy.
If I can download it, you can work out how to get it to me legally.
I know. Yeah, Pinewood and Shepperton are gearing up now for the smaller screen.
Get variety running, hitting and rapping like no.
So what was that, Petey Rich?
Pinewood and Shepperton are gearing up doing a lot of Netflix shows now. I think they're expanding.
Yeah.
So everything's going down to the small screen streaming now.
Well,
Theaters are over.
Yeah.
My brother torpedo theaters for HBO Max. That's essentially what happened. They're like torpedo theater. Now, question is, if Disney follows suit, Teneders can still hang on slightly. If Disney follows suit, that's the death knell.
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely Megaplex, isn't it? It's definitely Megaplex.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Posner's made a couple of points. He says, disaster area. So you think they'll have him make an appearance similar to Lee? We'll see his elbow referring to Lee. But he says he strongly believes they'll bring back Mace Windu.
Okay, listen.
Windu's hand.
I don't want to spoil it for the problem being, but the thing that happened that like men called Jedis from around the universe, right? And who knows who's going to turn up?
Yeah.
And so, it's an open door for that.
We know Mace Windu is a definite possibility because we know.
No,
that,
really?
Yeah, we know that. Well, we know that he wants to do the part again.
He didn't. He didn't actually die. He just lost his arm. He didn't die.
Yeah, he's survived.
Apparently, Sidney Poitier was supposed to do it in the original.
Has he been in the EU at all? I haven't heard this at all.
It was, I think it was an announcement he made at some convention at some point.
Is this a new thing, or is this a recycled EU idea?
No, it's an original idea, right from the original New Hope.
Wow, I'm excited.
Sidney Poitier was supposed to play the role.
New ideas, they're all pretty good.
Yeah, but Mace Windu was supposed to be called by Vader on a Tantive 5 originally. This is like this is before, this was cut out.
Anyway, this is meant to be a 5
I
Doctors.
know. I know. Yeah.
So can we go around the panel and just briefly discuss what your fondest memories of the 5 Doctors is and what it means to you? Let's start with Rabbi there.
Oh my God, so many. There's so many because I saw it when it first came out. I loved it. I remember sitting at my dining room table watching it. I've seen it many, many times since. I've seen every different version of it. I've never really appreciated it until in the last like 10, 15 years what a masterwork it is, because it rattles along at a lovely pace and it's like so joyous and so Doctor Who and so of its era and yet so connected to its roots. Fantastic standout moments with Cybermen. Like who doesn't love the Cybermen throwing up when he gets a Russian warrior disc in his chest? I mean, like, who's not up there? You've got that body horror. You get to see all the old favorites again. Patrick Troughton's fantastic. Richard Harmdale's wonderful. Great Balls of Fire. It's a shame Tom Baker isn't in it. They had a good idea with John Linton had a good idea of inserting him in somehow. Probably good that he wasn't, because he would have dominated everything, and then we got to see all the others. I think
repurposing Sharda kept the Sharda thing alive in the fandom's memory. That was a good idea. Sharda. Sorry, you finished.
Sorry, I'm sorry. You asked me. I'm like, there's just so many. I love the warrior robot. I like. Oh my God, there's. I love the creepy. Was it Jamie and Zoe and like, but stop him! I love all that stuff. The only thing I was always let down. I'm not sure if they took it out of the special edition. Is a very plummy Watchalong face. and they like the weird looking Time Lord faces at the end. You know,
I quite like that. It was quite imposing. And
Yeah.
it was weird, but they all like ooh, and their eyes are looking around.
I like that.
They were vacuum formed in clear styrene.
Yeah.
Faces in them and just moved around a bit.
Listen, I'm so excited. This is the story. What are we doing next week, by the way? Before we move into this,
it's the 7th Doctor. No, 6th Doctor. Yeah, it's the 2 Doctors, I think.
2 Doctors are good. I was going to say, hopefully 2 Doctors or the Dalek story.
Or Time Lash. Charlotte.
Oh, no. Time Lash or Mark of the Rani. I mean, like, really, the tree.
I know it is very, very artificial.
Charlotte, what's your views on the 5 Doctors?
Well, this was my first. When I say like my first classic was the Troughton one, that was the first one I properly sat down and watched proper. But this is the one I properly ever watched from classic. So because I understood how important it was in the anniversary aspect, and like I said, I was impressed how much no character felt wasted. Like everybody had their part, everybody felt, even though I didn't know the Doctors, I got a really good gauge from just their performances. But I think the thing that really impressed me was this is the story that actually made me like Peter Davidson's Doctor, because I'd heard all the bad stuff about him, and then I watched this one, and I just think the scenes when he's with the Time Lords in this story, whether that's the High Council or when the reveal happens with who's behind it all, I just think Davidson's amazing. Like, you can just see how heartbroken his Doctor is. You can sort of see how he's uncomfortable around the Time Lords. You can really see how he doesn't want to be there. And like, I'd always heard that with classics, the Doctor was that renegade type of character. So I think this story was really important to me because it made me realise that more. But like I said, it made me really like 5 because I think, and I don't think he's talked about enough because of obviously all the other performances, but I think this is a brilliant showcase for Davidson. He does so much in this story and he's always on the go. He's so much behind what's going on a lot of the time, but he's sort of still understated somehow. And that's what I like about 5 anyway. He can be commanding, he can be powerful in a scene, and then he can just sort of slip in the background in a good way until he comes back again.
And he can do the dashing hero kind of thing as well, can't he? He's kind of like
he's always
pre-tenant kind of thing.
Yeah, he's always running about.
Yeah.
But that's the funny thing with the body language. Now I've watched more of him, you can see so much of Tennant's language in 5, body language wise, the way he would stand and the hands in the pockets. Like Tennant did that all the time. So it's fun.
Of course, the Verity Lambert said of Davison that she thought he was the most like the original Doctor, William Hartnell. That even though she didn't like the Doctors being too young, she felt that he had the right kind of Edwardian old man in a young body kind of thing.
Yeah, English gentleman sort of thing going on. Yeah, I agree with you.
Which is what Hinchcliffe said.
Yeah, but what I think it is with Davidson, and I think maybe me listening to the audio stuff has made this more sort of important to me, but I think Davidson has a Shakespearean delivery. And I think when you see somebody who looks that young be able to have that booming Shakespearean voice, it impresses you and it makes you think old. I think that's why he's
commanding
so
as well.
Yeah.
Great. PD Rich.
Oh, yeah, this episode. This was the first time they actually worked with children in need, from memory.
Really?
Yeah, this is when they really started doing a lot together with working with BBC Children in Need. This was like where it all started, and it kind of went on from to Dimension in Time, and then on to the new series.
That's so John Nathan Turner. You can just see John Nathan Turner. There's like free publicity, yes.
Yeah, it was. So they did a lot of collaborations with Children in Need after this. I remember that bit. This is also the episode where Roy Skelton got distracted while he was doing the Dalek voice, and there's that lovely outtake of him shouting "Exterminate, exterminate, exterminate" 9 or 10 times. It was
there's one when he swears. It's hilarious if you find that blooper. Like this Dalek just swearing. It's so funny.
And this also is a Tom Baker light episode because he had a bit of a falling outy. So they just
Well,
reused
he said that it was too soon to come back, wasn't it? So he
And you know what?
decided not to come back.
I do agree. It was like a year. It was just a year out. It was a big emotional wrench.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really agree with it. I mean, it would have been if he could have stayed on an extra year and left on this year, great. But
yeah,
he was so done. Season 18, he was so done. Season 19, yeah.
I mean, the Five Doctors could have worked quite well if he was still in the role, and then the Fifth Doctor came about, and the Five Doctors could have been a whole story about this newly regenerated Doctor and the Fourth Doctor trying to come to terms with something. That would have been really, really quite a interesting story.
Yeah.
Maybe in an alternative universe, maybe someone could write some fanfic of that. Anything else to add?
No, it's nice to see old John Pertwee again in this one. I did enjoy seeing Pertwee again. I think he played a remarkable part in this one.
Yeah, you're right.
He definitely was the standout for me in this story. Super John. Sorry, Super Doctor.
I haven't got any memories when it was first broadcast. Maybe I was just watching something else at the time and I didn't get to see it or something like that. But in 1995, they released the special edition on video with the King's Demons, and I remember going into John Menzies at the time and just buying the VHS and having a look at them. And I was staying in a hotel at the time, so I had my video recorder with me, and it was like just watched it for the first time because I never saw the repeats of it in UK Gold. So I thought it was a very well executed serial. I thought it was like a very action packed episode featuring all the Doctors. And I was quite impressed by it. I was quite impressed by Richard Hurndall, his imitation of the First Doctor. Although he wasn't quite, I learned later that he didn't portray the First Doctor like try to mimic him in anything like his voice or anything like that. He'd just done it as natural as he could. So that was quite impressive that he had done that. But I was very much convinced that he was the First Doctor. That was just like another like a kind of other side to the Doctor, like maybe because he was getting older or something like that, and he was taken from a later point in his time, his first incarnation. I liked
that
it
was
when
his last role, by the way.
I loved it when he met up with Susan. And Caroline Ford and all the companions, and when he first arrived back in the TARDIS and saw Peter Davison and saw the other companions, and then Tegan says, "Who might you be?" And he says, "I might be a number of things, young woman." And he says, "As it happens, I am the Doctor, the original, you may say." And she says, "You shouldn't be there at the same time with him, should you?" And he said, "Certainly not." So I felt when I saw that scene, it gave me goosebumps because it was, the past Doctor meeting the future Doctor, and I always quite liked that because I saw the two Doctors, the two Doctors, the three Doctors before that, with William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton and John Pertwee, and I loved that episode, that serial.
Yeah.
Even though Hartnell was in a time eddy because he couldn't go onto the set because he was that ill.
Yeah, I mean he passed away a few months later, didn't he? So it was the last thing he did. Yeah, I mean this was the first time I'd seen I think that all the previous Doctors. I mean I was aware of them because I was a fan, so I had lots of books and things like that. But I knew that Richard Hurndall wasn't the original Doctor, but it's the first time I'd seen him on screen, the character on screen, and it was the first time I'd seen the other Doctors on screen, I think, at that point. So it was quite exciting for me.
At the same time, they had that a repeat season, didn't they? The Five Faces of Doctor Who, or was that the year before? I can't remember. It was reasonably recent.
I think it was that year. Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, I to be honest with you, I can't really remember because my memory's a bit shaky back in those days. But I do remember thinking, wow, this was something really special and exciting for me because it just absolutely, for me, encapsulates Doctor Who perfectly. That entire story, and seeing all the other Doctors on screen together. I mean, I was still gutted about Tom Baker not being back, because I was still PTSD over it. I was still missing him and wondering when he'd come back. But just even seeing him, even just a glimpse of him was exciting. But I mean, that was the thing that kind of cast a cloud over it, if you like. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And for me as well, Anthony Ainley's Master was
he was great in this, wasn't
fantastic in this.
Brilliant.
This was the Master. This was my Master growing up.
Yeah.
Right.
And for me, this was his best performance as the Master. And obviously, I hadn't seen Delgado really before at that point.
I didn't see Delgado until the 90s. It was a long time. Late 80s, 90s. It was a long time after I saw it.
Well, it was when I was at school during my Doctor Who club, after school Doctor Who club at school, that we had loads of videos of all the previous Doctor's stories, and some of them in real bad black and white, and tapes of tapes. So it was like 8th generation recording or something. So it's really, really.
I love those ones. I did.
Yeah, I mean, you still watch it. You'd be trying to hear what they're saying and trying to see what they're doing, but it was exciting stuff. So it was really when I went to my high school that I managed to get introduced to the old Doctors, and that was great. So I was quite
grateful that back in my day that there was Doctor Who books in the school, and you were allowed to kind of borrow them and borrow them from a while, but there was annuals and everything like that, and it was my first exposure to Tom Baker, and I had seen his Doctor and all that, and I was curious about the other Doctors and that, and I think it was a 1975 annual I kept reading and all that. Brilliant. But the teacher took it away from me.
Rabbi, can you send Vanessa Law a link through Facebook? He's asking. No worries.
Right, everybody in the chat has pressed 1, so they're ready to go. Is everybody on the panel got it downloaded now? I just finished downloading it, so I'm ready.
Yeah, mine's downloaded now.
I think Vanessa Law is just waiting. Yeah.
It takes a few minutes, man. We've it's half an hour in.
I don't think I have her on Facebook, Vanessa.
You can find her in the
play the original version, so I don't think there's much in it, is it?
Contact me. I'm like, I'm happy to send it to you, but I don't know how.
I was going to say, I think, have you not sent her something before? But that said, she's not on Twitter, so it must have been Facebook or something else.
He's a rabbi, not a miracle worker.
No, let me see if it am.
Yeah, Matthew, it's the special edition, and welcome to the chat. Sorry to give you, I didn't see you there. And Lex, the Penguin Soldier, is also in.
If I had it, I don't have it now.
Hello, not Adam.
Noel will be in a good mood today. It is a favourite story of mine. Obviously, Peter Davison was my Doctor growing up, so it was actually nice to actually see him interact with the other Doctors. And I agree with what Charlotte says. I think Peter Davison's performance in this story is actually fantastic. And I'll agree with Lee, the Master, in this. He's brilliant. Anthony is brilliant in this. Even when
it's as easy as pie.
But when he goes to talk to Pertwee's Doctor and tells him that he's actually there to help, I just think that whole scene is actually hilarious, man. Because he tries to prove it to him and all, and the Doctor is having none of it, and then all of a sudden, I don't want to give spoilers away just in case anybody has actually hasn't seen it. Has anybody in the chat not seen it actually? For matter
I'll be surprised.
This was the first DVD release, by the way.
And it was a terrible DVD release.
I know.
Awful one.
Yeah, they'd re-release it, redo it.
Yeah, because it
Not
was so bad. It was like
Yeah.
bare bones.
Because this is the 25th anniversary edition, not the special edition anymore.
Sadako says he's a purist, though. Yeah, well, listen, I know there are purist Doctor Who fans out there that only class Hartnell as the only Doctor. So, I mean, look, I get that, but there's room for everybody in this
Really
fandom.
gonna hate the
Whether
special
you're a
edition of Planet
purist,
Fire.
whether you like the special effects, whether you don't. You know, I like both. I like both the special edition and the original, and I think it's good to have the special edition as an option. To be quite honest, but
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
good to
if
have
you're
all-
a purist, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
Yes,
look,
George Lucas, it's good to have all paths. All versions.
that's
Yes,
it.
George, good to have all versions. We can all make
Yeah,
it
Preach.
like
George
Preach.
Lucas gave Special Edition such a terrible name.
I know, Ridley Scott did a brilliant job with Blade Runner, especially.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like
It was the
most
final
Doctors,
cut, all four cuts.
they're better. Like,
Yeah, I've got the tin
Special
set of-
Edition is so much
tin
better
box set
than the
now.
regular one.
Yeah.
Adam, if you're available, no, Adam.
Oh,
Adam is in the chat as well.
Oh, Alex.
Right, his name is Adam,
Okay,
but I don't
confused
call
now.
him by his But if you want to pop on, because you normally used to come on for the classic watch-alongs, if you're
No, I'm
available,
going to send the link, okay?
yeah, send them the link. Yeah, send them
Okay.
the link. Don't mind. Adam hasn't been on in a while, and he always has some
Oh,
interesting
Autumn, yeah, Autumn.
No.
facts. Yeah, yeah. I call him by his name, and I use all call him by his
Atom
Okay.
Mirabilis.
I've got
Yeah.
a question though, as we're still like chatting. So, was it thought that Tom was going to be in it, and was it like a surprise when he wasn't, or had they said he wasn't going to be in it?
I think they wrote it.
I like
I
when
think
it
John
was-
Nathan
Do you know
Turner
what?
was
I
going to be in
actually,
it.
I actually think he refused to be in it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think we know the true full story, but there's one thing we do know. He
Look at the
regrets it
publicity
now.
pictures.
He actually regrets it now, but the reason that was given was the official reason is, as someone said on the panel, is he thought it was too soon. Now,
Yeah, leave
maybe
it.
that is the case, but at the end of the day, you know, he probably didn't want to tread on Peter Davison's toes, and maybe that's the kind of man Tom Baker actually is. But I would have loved him to see him in it, but it still look. It worked out. It worked out. I thought not having Tom Baker in it would somehow affect it, but it didn't.
Someone did do like a photo kind of comic book version of the Five Doctors with Tom Baker in it, so you can look that up online and you'll find it.
Yeah, it's but yeah, by the time they were filming this, like first thing he did after he left Doctor Who was get his hair cut, really,
Yes.
and then was in Loads and Loves of Shit. Like he was so not into the part till like I don't know mid-90s. It was a long
Yeah.
time.
It was like
But here's the
time,
thing.
was it?
But here's the thing to add as well, though. Think about having Tom Baker in there would have changed the dynamic altogether. It would have
Yeah.
changed the whole direction of this
Yeah, it would have.
production because he's so. I mean, he's the quintessential Doctor. He's the one that everybody tries to measure up to. So could you imagine him being in there with the other actors? Now, I know they all got on well, but I'd say there would have been a little bit of tension there, to be quite honest
Yeah.
with you,
Well,
because
they all got on
you
well
know,
because Tom Baker wasn't there.
because think
They
about it.
wouldn't get on well.
Think about it. Pertwee had a particular way of doing it. We've even seen clips of him where the bloopers on the DVDs where he's quite insistent that you know, you see him. He's very forceful in his like opinions, and he's giving out to people when they're in his eye line. Right, Tom Baker be the same kind of personality. Those two, in my opinion, would have clashed. And I think it would have caused tension because they both have their ideas, their way of playing. Because those two are stubborn. They have their ideas. Pertwee's Doctor is completely different to Baker's Doctor. They played it their own way. And both played it magnificently, in my opinion. But they would have clashed, telling you. There would have been some
I think
fireworks
there would have been a lot of clashes, actually. Vanessa says I can use the original, but tell Rabbi I sent him a Facebook message.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay. As long as you've got them
Right. We'll give it a few more minutes, right? But I really want to start in about 5-10 minutes, if that's okay with you, folks.
Yeah.
Right. Although I didn't get a message. Nothing
It
came
is.
in.
You might have to go with what you might have to do is she's probably sent you a message request. So go into your messages and there might be a little symbol to say that you got a message request.
All right, there you go. That's exactly what happened.
There.
There was something in one of the books. Tom Baker said that he didn't want to appear alongside old shagged out doctors. That's what he said.
Look down.
Nice.
I just sent you the wrong link. 1 sec. I'll think of the right one.
Listen. I love Tom, right? I think Tom over the last few years, say 20, 25 years, has really put in the effort with the fans. He has regretted not being in the 5 Doctors. He says there's a lot of things he regrets, but at the end of the day, he still is everybody's favorite Doctor, and he's loved by millions. I mean, every interview I see him in now, like, he still has the wit, he still has that sharpness, and I just look. He should be put in a bubble, protected. We need this man to stick around because he is what keeps this fandom going right now. I'm telling you, it's like Tom Baker. I don't want to say it, touch wood, but when Tom Baker goes, it's gonna be this fandom. The Doctor Who community as a whole is going to be devastated.
Yeah, it's like a Brian Blessed character, isn't he? Tom Baker.
There's going to be it's going to be worse than what we've felt with the Timeless Children nonsense. This is going to be. This is Tom Baker is.
I don't want to talk about it.
I know, and you're right. And
not talking into a grave.
That man is a national treasure.
Exactly.
And
he's a legend of small screen.
Yes, he is. And you know what? We fans were lucky to have him. We were
born in the right time in history. I mean, I wish I'd been born a little bit earlier. I would have enjoyed him more as a kid. But
I've loved every single Doctor up until you know who, right?
Yeah.
I've had different reactions to each Doctor, right? It's taken me half an hour, say, to get into one Doctor. Yeah, that's the Doctor. It's taken me a couple of episodes for others. For Matt Smith, it was like that speech at 11 that went. If anybody look at, I remember, right? I don't want to actually go talk about New Who, but I'll just real quickly. I remember when Matt Smith was revealed and he did his regeneration and he was doing the saying long hair. I'm a girl. And I remember the newspapers and I remember some in the fandom.
They slated him. They absolutely slated him.
They slated him. They absolutely annihilated him. And I was even worried myself.
Yeah, I was a bit worried.
And then I saw the 11th hour. And you could already tell within the first 2 minutes, right? You were just waiting for the speech to see would that be the final little hook to catch it in. But straight away, you could tell in the scene where he's with little Amy Pond in the kitchen. I said, this is I was nearly there, right? And then that speech, and I was like blown away. That's the Doctor. Here we go. I can't wait.
I just wish he didn't say basically run. Anybody says basically.
Now you're nitpicking.
That would have been just so much better if he just said
no way.
So.
No way.
Yeah, totally. And speaking of clashes,
hold on. Here's Adam.
There were definitely clashes between Troughton and Pertwee during the 3 Doctors because Troughton liked to ad lib and Pertwee was a stickler for sticking to the script. So those two didn't quite get on.
Yeah, we've got Adam here, so I forgot all about the poor chap. He's been sitting there for the last 5 minutes while we've been talking, but I disagree with you on that one, Lee, where he says that line, basically run, and his face.
Everything was fine. Just that one word. Just take that out. And
it would have been a copy of that.
I'll tell you why I loved it, because he might have been a young face, but right there he showed his experience. He showed his age, basically, that he was this old Time Lord. You could see it, in the eyes and all. It was just perfect. It wasn't that line delivery. I just love it. And then the cockiness after it, and then running, and then seeing his TARDIS. Oh man, he had me, and I was devastated actually when he left. But when we got Peter Capaldi,
you were devastated.
Yeah, I was devastated.
You were devastated.
And that phone and that phone call with Peter Capaldi, where Clara is talking to him, Peter Capaldi's doctor is there.
That
just,
never.
I cried my eyes out. I really did.
Oh, I wanted to kill Moffat. I literally wanted to kill Moffat because I was like, okay, it's Matt's gone. I have to get over this. Matt's gone. And then he did that. And I was like,
bastard.
I'm gonna kill you.
Remember in the previous episode before he died, Clara goes to the TARDIS and she sees the phone is out. And she puts the phone back in. That's when she goes in. I thought that was brilliant because I always wondered who did he bloody ring, and then we found out who he. I thought it was just beautiful, man. Right.
I think that helped me cement Peter Capaldi as the Doctor. I mean, it was a very touching scene, and it was well done, and it was well acted, and I loved the fact that they had to make out the TARDIS landed in Glasgow and that, and with a Scottish accent.
Do you know why he did it though? Do you know why?
To make the younger fans.
Yes, exactly. That's why Moffat did it, because he wanted to show like that it's still the same character that you love, but it was very clever. This was to appease some of the younger fans, and it did work to a certain extent because the ratings went up a little bit, and then they started to the dive in season 9.
Right, he was burnt out by that point. But
right, Adam, I'm going to bring him on. Here he is. I'm sorry, Adam. I'm a chatterbox today, but welcome to the panel.
That's all right. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem at all. Right, I'll ask everybody again in the chat. Are you ready? Press 1.
One second, Adam. Let me say this.
Just a bit ready.
Right, so we can get going. We're 46 minutes in, and this is an hour and bleeding 40 minutes, like we haven't even started yet.
Oh, this is not bad for us. Come on.
Well, I suppose it isn't, and we're having a good chat anyway. But listen, I mean, that scene is just perfect. But going back to the 5 Doctors, I mean, look, I love this story. I mean, and do you remember? Actually, again, I'm kind of going back to Neil Hill, but do you remember when the new fans were saying that the Cybermen never went to Gallifrey, and this is the story where they actually go to Gallifrey. I mean, they don't even let. This is why I don't like them, right? I don't mind bringing in new fans coming in, but at least learn the bloody canon, the law.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not, you have to invest some time in it, And I think that's why they don't get how we get emotional about it and stuff. And I wish they would, because you would feel that connection. And trust me, it's the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest feeling ever. It can help you through the darkest times. You make new friends. You can talk about it. You can have debates about it. It's brilliant. All that is gone now.
All right.
Yeah, but we're not focusing on negative stuff. We've got
I'm just saying. I just wish fans would, embrace it all. Embrace it all, because I tell you, it's the best feeling in the world. Because when you watch the story, I'm telling you, Inferno for me as well, another Pertwee classic. I bleed and love that story. Now, I know some people say it's too long, but for me, it's perfect. You've got to remember, we watched them all together. Someone said something a few weeks back, I think it was Super John, actually, when we were watching the story, and everybody was saying it was too long. And then someone made the point remember, was that you? And you said they were released. Remember, we have to remember they were released on a weekly. Was it a weekly basis? They released them. Yeah, I think it was.
I was moaning out how it was too long. It was Sea Devils.
Sea Devils. Yeah, but I mean, we've got to remember we're watching them all together. Back in the day, they didn't. So for them, it wouldn't have felt like it was dragged out. So. Yeah, that's why my fish is done. Someone's having fish. Well done. Well done.
So, can I give my perspective on the 5?
Oh, of course you can. Yes, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, the hell rude of me. Go ahead.
So I really wanted to jump on this just because, and I'm sorry I won't be able to be here through the entire watch along. But what I wanted to say was this particular special was huge for me as a lad when I was growing up, and a lot of my friends too who were Whovians, because in the States all we had was PBS and we couldn't watch it anywhere else, so we had to get it on the public broadcasting. But when the 5 Doctors hit, and you're right, it was one of the first VHS releases because our comic shops had it. Along with the Doctor Who magazine, and that was about all you could get. And then we had the Marvel comics that were released in the 80s for the Doctor Who's. And those are fantastic. I highly recommend them to anybody. I mean, they blow away any of the new stuff that we've seen, honestly. The stories were fantastic and encapsulate how Doctor Who should be written entirely. But the 5 Doctors was, beginning when you had the first Doctor, and he says, "I shall come back." That sent chills. And at the time, I maybe saw 1 or 2 of the first Doctor episodes that was on PBS, but we really didn't get that much of them. It was mostly Pertwee and it was Baker. But then you got to see Troughton in there. And like I said, they didn't really show the second Doctors. I think we only had 1 episode that they showed on PBS, and it was the only surviving episode of the moon base. With the not the Sontarans, the Ice Warriors. No, it was the Ice Warriors. I'm sorry, it was the Ice Warriors episode with Troughton.
Oh yes, see the
Wheel Space. Yeah. And that was the only one that I had ever seen, because that was the only one that they had showed on PBS. And I mean, it was a shock to see him and then all the Doctors together. And then we had Watchalong. Okay, so there's this whole thing about Watchalong, and we're like, who is that? I mean, as fans, it blew our mind. There's this tower. Watchalong was immortal. His body is still intact, laying on this bed. So we're thinking he's in stasis, because Star Trek: The Next Generation's out, so we're pulling from other genres while we're watching it, trying to understand what's going on. I mean, the episode was fantastic. You had the Brigadier in it. I mean, Gallifrey starts to become more. You start to see more of Gallifrey, and then you start to realize that there's this long, ancient history to the planet. I mean, and so it really brought us in, and I was a kid. I was probably like 10 or 11 when the VHS hit, and that was at least 2 years after it had debuted in the UK, because we didn't get stuff right when you guys did. We got it a year or 2 later. So
unlike nowadays where you get everything first.
Well, I don't know. I mean, kind of. I think with the way things are now, I'd rather you guys keep it.
Yeah, no, you can have it.
Then BBC America has kind of gone downhill ever since. And the ratings have slid so much. But it used to be a main event. I mean, it used to be in my household. All my family would get together. We'd watch the Tennant episodes and Matt Smith. But no, the 5 Doctors was an extremely important special that was released at the time. And for us Whovians in the States, it was huge because it was the first time we got to see all the Doctors together. It was the first, and we had the Master, we had a Dalek, we had the Cybermen. It was a showcase of everything. Now, the story was light. I'll give it that. But when you're 11 years old and you're watching this on VHS with your friends who are Whovians in the house at the same time, we're going through our Marvel magazines, trading. We're trading Doctor Who magazines back and forth. We see Colin Baker in there. We haven't even seen him yet. We're still on Davison's episodes on PBS. So we're like, who's this Colin Baker, right? And because the comics in there were showing him. The black and white comics, him and Perry. We hadn't seen that yet. So for us, we were getting things later. But when we saw the original Doctors that played with Davison, okay, because I know how it is now. You get a new Doctor, you're not sure you warm up to them. And it is until, just like Noel was saying. But when you see it from the perspective of Davison and then the Doctors going backwards, you have such reverence and what do you call it? Curiosity about their stories, about what were their episodes like? What was he like as a Doctor? Those things brought us into it. And sadly, I don't think that's going to be the case in the future with Jodie's era and the latter part of Capaldi's. I mean, people will watch it, but they'll be like, it was weak. The first season of Capaldi was great. The last two, just with the exception of I will say this, season 10 towards the end was fantastic. But
Wild Enough in Time is fantastic. I thought that was one of the best.
Season 10 is still my favorite Capaldi season. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, you can get past, I'm lesbian every single episode from his companion, but I mean,
hilarious
from Bill, but it's
especially when he's doing it in
yeah.
front of what's his name from Little Britain. He's doing it in front of what's his name, Matt Lucas from Little Britain. It's like Matt Lucas is gay. It's like, I always think it's like, well, you just say it in front of a gay man. It's like that just sounds stupid. Sorry, Adam. Continue, mate. Sorry.
No. I'm just going to wrap it up, but I'll say this: that the Five Doctors, with the exception of Tom Baker, I mean, many of us didn't know the story behind him not coming in, him being trapped in this vortex thing. Okay, but we had wished he had been there. But again, if he had, he probably would have overshadowed David Tennant. I'm sorry, Peter Davison. I'm excited. Peter Davison. He would have overshadowed him and Pertwee. Probably would have been going at toe to toe behind the scenes. I'm sure because they both had egos that could fill a room as they walked in. Mm-hmm. And Troughton would have gotten lost in that. And it was good to see Troughton shine. I loved him in the furry coat from from that old serial where he had fought against
the Abominable Snowman.
The Abominable Snowman. Yes. And so that was a great callback to it. And at the time, of course, we didn't know it. I'm just seeing him in this fuzzy jacket and this funny little Beatles haircut looking guy walking around, but I was fascinated by him as a doctor because he was so quirky and I wanted to see more of his episodes. And it wasn't until later in life when we started getting the DVDs and some of the episodes were recovered that we started to really see that Troughton's Doctor was fantastic. I mean, his era was amazing, and it's just such a sad thing to know that a lot of it got junked in the bin.
Yeah, wiped. Yeah, completely.
And this was before we saw the Three Doctors, so this was the first time we saw him in color as well.
Yeah. Well, no, the Three Doctors was the first.
They never debuted that. That didn't come out until way later on DVD, and it never came on PBS. Never. And so we didn't know about Omega either.
No.
You see, so for us, we're getting this piecemeal. So Rassilon was the first we'd heard of this legendary Gallifreyan figure outside of the Doctor, and according to this episode, Rassilon was the only one that achieved immortality, unlimited regenerations, which Chibnall is now undone completely.
Yeah. Does that mean the Doctor is Rassilon? Ooh.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, we should get started, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll be about halfway through.
So, Adam, you didn't know about Omega until Arc of Infinity, then?
Correct.
Jeez, wow. Coming from the second half, not the first half.
No, and the only time we did see him in the original costume with the gold mask was in a Doctor Who magazine, and that was years later.
Yeah.
My first time of seeing Omega was definitely Arc of Infinity as well. So but again,
time I knew about him was
having seen him in magazines with the old mask.
I think they just repeated the Three Doctors. Here, I'm going to look up Doctor Who repeats.
They first broadcast the Three Doctors in UK Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, which a lot of people didn't have because a lot of people didn't have
back in the day, not a lot of people could afford to. So you still had terrestrial TV, so.
Actually,
I was quite lucky I could get it for free.
You guys had Blue Peter too. We didn't have Blue Peter.
Yeah.
All we had was PBS, and that was it. And Star Trek was dominant on every other channel.
Yeah, Sky One and all that. The Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Right, let's get started.
We ready to go? Yeah, I was just going to say that. Rob, you'd like to do the countdown?
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mm-hmm.
One
day I shall come back.
A Dalek invasion of Earth.
Yeah.
And it's right that it's black and white as well. That they didn't mess around with it. They just
didn't try to colour it.
I don't think they had the technology for it really. To make it look
I
good.
know, but it's just perfect.
I do love this intro.
Oh yeah.
I used it for such a long time. It's originally Tom Baker's.
The music was very upbeat. It made you excited. And it was that guitar strong, that dom, da dom, dom, da dom.
Very 80s, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Loved it.
But this theme tune still works today. It's very modern.
Yeah, it still rocks.
It's timeless.
See, now I always thought the Dark Tower was Rassilon's foundry. Because they always, like in the New Who, they said that where else would a Time Lord be buried than in his TARDIS, right?
That's a cool idea.
So I thought
feel like
that was his TARDIS.
On the, where you see, I think it builds up a lot. What's the word? Atmosphere. And also, I prefer the new music. It feels a lot sort of Kings of Androzani.
Yeah.
Now, did Turlo ever show that he liked to paint? Was did this just randomly happen?
No,
this episode?
Not at all.
I think it's just added in, I think. Just to make the scene a bit more interesting.
Yeah.
This is actually the Eye of Orion. This is one of the Doctor's favourite places where he likes to visit from time
Is
to
this after
time.
the Garden trilogy?
This is after the Black Guardian.
Yeah, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
it's the new TARDIS console. I know one of the guys that built this. The guys from Artem.
Oh, but that's such a gorgeous console.
Nice.
Yeah.
It was one of my
It's a great
favourites.
intro for it as well. I like
John
great
Hill from Artem.
And it's the
Old
first time they
BBC
made it out of
computer.
fiberglass instead
Yeah.
of wood.
That's
Yeah.
it. There's a lot of fiberglass on it. A lot of old consoles as well. All integrated it.
Apparently, though, the consoles were quite heavy to kind of move.
Yeah, but it could all
This
fit
one
into
was very lighter.
Yeah, they made it light. They made it so it could be taken apart and fitted into boxes and to be stored away. That's why it survived. Because
I love that interior.
John and his crew did that. They did a brilliant job on it. I think it's my
I love
favourite
that
interior.
interior. This is the classic interior. I mean, what they did with the Ruth Doctor TARDIS. I mean, it's nice, but it's too much. All those angled doors and stuff. I mean,
It's just like a neoclassic design, isn't it, really?
yeah,
It's a bit like 2005 Daleks,
it doesn't work. It's too busy.
Yeah. Daleks work, though, but that doesn't work.
Well, I don't like the new, the
I don't
Revolution.
like Dalek at all.
Oh, the new Daleks. Ugh.
Too busy.
Paradigm. Oh, God.
See, I like the roundel walls. I think because it was it started out in the very beginning, the William Hartnell's, and it carried on. I think the roundel wall should be just a part of the TARDIS, and they shouldn't change.
That's why I loved about when Matt Smith redid it for Matt Smith and the Snowman. I loved that. I know they're hexagonal, but I loved it. It looked like a spaceship again.
Well, I think the roundels should be put into the contract that it has to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Roundels.
Has to have a console. Has to have roundels. That's it.
Yeah, and the console should always be hexagonal, not round. Don't like the round ones.
It was apparently that the roundels were actually a function of the TARDIS. I mean, behind the roundels were components, and they were linked to parts of the TARDIS. And
which annoyed me about the Day of the Doctor, because they were like, "Oh, I like the round things. What are they? I don't know." That's not true. He does know what they are.
If you opened up one roundel, it would be an access to a kind of a part that would control the TARDIS. If the console broke down,
didn't they?
And it was a bit confusing when they seemed to not, remember that.
Yeah,
I do love the special edition effects better.
Oh, I love the run. I'm sorry, it's a bit funny. A bit funny.
I tell you, this was a mistake. They should have kept with the triangle thing.
You like the triangle thing better?
They should have just done it better, but I like the triangle thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the Phantom Zone from Superman, isn't it?
That's what I was thinking, exactly.
Yeah. no,
Did this make you guys think it could have been the toy maker?
I want those figurines. I wonder what happened to the originals.
Oh, I bet they're destroyed at
Probably
this
on
point.
John David
They're
Turner.
probably in some private
I bet you
collector.
Davison has them.
Somebody's got it.
Yeah.
I bet you Davison has them. He was a big fan. He took a lot of stuff home.
Yeah.
I love this scene with Troughton and the new Brigadier.
Okay, this might have been after this time, but there was a prop maker called Two More,
And this is the first.
who I think took castings of them.
And this is the first time we see Unit since Tom Baker's time.
And that's Orderly House, isn't it?
I think so.
The estate.
Yeah,
Yeah, because. Sorry.
I miss the Brigadier yelling at Benton. Benton!
Yeah, but I think with the brig, it's like just I forgot the actor's name, which is terrible. What's the actor's name?
Which one?
Nicholas Courtney is a Brigadier.
Courtney. I couldn't think of it. I think the reason why the brig's such a well-loved character is whenever he talks about the Doctor, you just feel that warmth and that sort of
Fondness, yeah.
Yeah, you just have to
He
say
came to
a
my
lot.
school. He came to my school.
Yeah, we know you're a name dropper, Lee.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. I met Troughton when I was a kid.
Wow.
Before he passed away, he was at a convention.
No, he died at a
Keith
convention,
so-and-so.
didn't he?
Yeah, well, at a hotel afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't at that one though. It was two prior to that.
Oh.
Oh, and the
Yeah.
famous line's coming up soon.
He loved it, didn't he? Loved going to the conventions.
Oh gosh, yes. He was having a great time.
Yeah,
All the actors
From
that
what I
played the
remember.
Doctors had a great time at the conventions. I mean,
Yeah.
they embraced the fans and they'd realised what this show was and how it was important to fans and how it was important that what they were doing was actually reaching out to people and making people happy.
Well,
Yeah.
at that time it was a sci-fi convention, so you didn't have, Doctor Who's section was kind of small. The merchandise was mostly books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have any action figures. They had the DePaul figures.
Definitely, yeah.
They
The
were all
Daypole never came out
Yeah.
to the, I think it was 1986 or 87.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were expensive if you did find them at a convention.
Yeah.
Because they were so
I never
rare.
had any Doctor Who toys until I was about 5 years old, and that was a Bump and Go Dalek. It was one of the Marx Daleks, and it was a yellow one, and it was like the old batteries you just put in them. And I remember getting it for my 5th birthday, and the first time I switched it on, it had started to interfere with the television. And my mum was afraid. She said, switch that thing off in case the television blows up. You know, it was one of these things back then.
Yeah. Right, it's putting out a certain frequency to make the TV buzz, yeah.
The only thing I had Doctor Who related that was a toy was the Mego figure. We got it at a garage sale. And thank God they had the scarf.
Yeah.
Run.
I would have loved a TARDIS toy, a proper one, and back then, but there wasn't any TARDIS toys about. I was lucky I had a pencil case or the bubble baths. The bubble baths they used to sell in the chemist, and I got
Yeah.
my gran every Saturday to buy me a bubble
The
bath
old,
and empty
the old
them.
I'm too old for this sort of thing line had to be put in there.
I
Yeah.
actually created my own Dalek from plastic parts. Actually, and then I did a Davros too. I cannibalized a G.I. Joe figure and created a Davros.
Yeah.
Then back in the day, it was like I had to make my own Doctor Who figures and all
Yeah.
that, and there wasn't a thing. I was lucky to have a pencil case TARDIS, which I took to school, and I was lucky to have a ceramic money box, which I played with. And I took that ceramic money box outside. I got it in the Doctor Who exhibition. I'd played with it, and it was amazing it didn't get broken, but eventually it did get broken because I was running about with it and it smashed.
Action Man here now. Action Man.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about the appeal of Doctor Who when I was a kid, and something that's lost today, was that it wasn't a show for the world. It was a British sci-fi
Yeah.
show, which is quintessentially British. And that was the thing about it that attracted somebody to it because, Star Trek was American. They tried to portray the entire world on the bridge, but it was, it was an American show. You could feel that. I mean, even in the Next Generation, But now they're turning it into some international. We wanted to reflect the world. Well, it's supposed to reflect Britain as a whole, not just London or Cardiff, but Britain as a whole. And it was a culture that was brought into it because the Doctor was fond of Britain. That's why he always came back there. He loved the culture there. So, yeah, I don't know. They lost that now. That identity is gone.
Well, basically, the first episode started in London, in the year 1963. Well, not really, but it was just a television studio.
Yeah, Coal Hill School, I'm Foreman Yard. Yeah.
But that was the appeal of it, being living in America. I was born in Britain, so I had this connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dual citizenship. So I am a subject, and I'm also a free American citizen. So I mean, that's nice, living in both worlds. And that was that was kind of my personal connection to the show. There she is, Sarah Jane. Hello.
Yeah.
And K9.
Apparently K9 still works.
Is that the Mark 1 or Mark 2? That's the Mark 2, isn't it?
2. Mark 3, I think. It's the one from K9 and Company.
Yeah, that's one from K9 and Company.
Could they do a robotic dog and for you to go, oh, because his ears are doing the twizzly thing.
Matt Irvine still has it. And it still works.
Yeah.
Plus the voice. Like, it makes half of it, doesn't it? John, what's the name of the voice?
Well, it was Matt Irvin that had. He was the controller of K9, and I thought K9 was very difficult. It only could go around smooth, flat surfaces, but it couldn't climb in and out of the TARDIS, and they had problems.
Yeah. That's why I used to take the Mickey and have him stuck in a TARDIS for one episode. He can't get out of the
Beware the dog.
Now, this was smart. Shada had not aired. So they could throw this in there because Shada had not aired.
Yeah.
So that was smart.
It was just clips, really, Shada, because it wasn't fully finished. It never has been. It's only animated now. Partly animated.
And then I love it. Sorry, I love how then when the Five-ish Doctors, Peter did the whole gag of reusing it. I love that.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't get Tom again, so he goes, "Oh, we'll just use that clip."
See, that was a good time before the crazy PC police and SJWs took over, because at that point Colin had softened and he was with the rest of the gang. When they did the female Doctor, I mean, he leapt at jumping on Davison, and I can't forgive him for that. He went with to Twitterati that hounded Davison off just because Davison said that there was something lost in not having a male role model for boys.
I think Tom Baker said it the best. Give it a season.
Yeah. I think it was a big mistake, and it was a big gamble with the program, because the Doctor was quintessentially a grandfather figure, and to begin with, and because it was this male gentleman, English gentleman, throughout the years, I mean, I think that people would have seen it for a gimmick, the female Doctor, and they just I mean, the ratings tell it all anyway.
Yeah.
Well, the rationale was, little girls want to see themselves as the Doctor, and little boys want to see themselves as the Doctor. Well, not really. I mean, the Doctor had male and female companions, so the human was their companion, not the Doctor himself. I mean,
and it didn't matter to girls, because even, very, very few girls, but they probably dressed up as the Fifth Doctor, Sixth Doctor, Seventh Doctor back then.
Well, see, I never wanted to be the Doctor. I wanted to be a Time Lord, not a Doctor. Not the Doctor. I mean, I like the Doctor, but I wanted to be my own Time Lord. That's I think the thing that they're missing.
Yeah.
Is that you want to identify with the hero? Yes, but do you want to be the hero? No, you want to be your own hero. And the fact that he had a whole society that was like him, and he wasn't special, he had just decided to leave. Well, everybody could do that. Then, if you're a Time Lord, you could steal a TARDIS and head out just like the Doctor did.
Yeah.
So that was the appeal, but now they've corrupted that, and it's you have to see yourself as the Doctor. Well, that's ridiculous. That's not what, as a child, that's not what I remember feeling when I saw Doctor Who. It wasn't I wanted to be the Doctor. I wanted to be like the Doctor, but I wanted to be my own Time Lord with 12 regenerations in my own TARDIS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when in my childhood, I wanted to be the Doctor because he was this kind of figure that saw everything, saw the universe as though it was broken, and he had tried to mend it, and basically he was trying to make peace with everybody, and it wasn't working out. He only had a few friends, companions going with him, but all those enemies, monsters, and all that, and to me, as a 5-year-old, back then, I thought he was very scary and cool at the same time, and I thought I would like to be this, and I'd like to wear the question marks, I'd like to wear the scarf, I like the TARDIS, I like the authority it brought, because it gave a sense of it's like Jesus in a way, like you know how some people look up to him as a kind of figure, a kind of savior. If you kind of thought, it's very much like that. You can't write it any differently because the Doctor is this being. He is this person to kind of solve all these problems and all that, but he wants everybody to kind of solve their own problems for themselves and make sure that everybody's all right. So basically, that's why I like the character, and I'd like to be that character.
Well, that's where it all stems from, though, doesn't it? It all stems from the original. It was supposed to be a group of troubleshooting scientists going through time.
Yeah. And I think it's truly inspirational. Now, it should be inspirational to people today, but it's obviously catering for a different type of audience now, and that's how it's losing viewers, because you're not seeing this moral, righteous character that's defending the universe against all these evils.
Here he comes, the Master.
Yeah.
I remember when first seeing the Master, I was very terrified of him. I thought, he was very, very evil and like that. And I remember that I thought, who was he? I mean, he always appeared in this dark outfit that he's wearing now, and it was like it was very, very deadly and deadly looking, and it just gave me the creeps.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about in this scene, like it's so well, I think the direction, you can tell that the actors in it, they don't want him in the room. They're very uncomfortable with him being there.
What?
And it's like, you're here because you serve a purpose. And that's the feeling you get so much with this scene. And you can tell he's sort of like, with the performance, he's thinking, how can I get what I want out of this? Like in the back of his head. He's trying to plan ahead and trying to think, what can I trick you? What can I get that?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day...
untrustworthy, right? He exudes untrustworthiness.
Yes, he does.
Those faces.
And it's with the Doctor. They try to use the authority over him and undermine him all the time when they encounter the Doctor. And it's like they're trying to bring the Doctor down, and they know that the Doctor is quintessentially he's the one that could get them out of the trouble and all that.
Yeah.
Aww.
I do like the older Susan with Hundle,
They've got good chemistry as well.
The older Susan with him, but I like it.
Yeah.
They've got good chemistry, I thought, these two.
Yeah, I agree.
it's a different actor. It's not William, but you quite quickly get that granddaughter, grandfather vibe.
Should have used the broken one, but
Imagine what Caroline Ford felt
Right,
when she saw him in the costume and all that.
Oh,
You know, all the memories would flood back.
You know, the girl, the lady that played Zoe with the second Doctor.
Yeah.
I forgot her name.
that was the thing with the
Wendy
Dalek outfit.
Padbury.
Yeah.
She's later in the Tower of Rassilon, but
Yeah.
she had remarked, I think it was on one of those DVD after specials or whatever, and she was talking about how she didn't realize how later in life it's become a meme because it's all over the internet that her bum became famous from being on top of the console in The Mind Robber. And I thought that was funny because, I mean, a lot of us, you know, teenage fans, the rabbi talks about this. I mean, you had Perry, of course, Perry. But
yes, you do.
Tegan, Tegan, on occasion, would wear something and it would just spark that.
Yeah, it's just a shame when she opened her mouth.
This
right?
line, the cosmos without the Doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, that boob tube that Tegan wore, it looked like very tight enough. You know, it was like that she could hardly move and all that at times. It's probably the costumes, the designing for them, and
I have to say,
I
would love to go into the psychology of the Master, where he thought,
yeah,
I'm going to go for all black velvet, right?
Yeah.
I can hear the all black velvet. That's just kinky.
Yeah, but
it's got something to do with Traken, but there we go.
Yeah, that was Traken outfit. That was a Traken style because you remember his daughter Tegan would wear that.
Right. She because of velvet.
Nissa.
I'm sorry, Tegan and Nessa. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, my day has been crazy. I'm still in the middle of work. Actually, I'm taking the break to do this.
And that's interesting because, I mean, Tegan's got more costumes to wear in the later seasons.
Look how
the
long
first
his hair
seasons,
was.
it was an air hostess outfit she wore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Until they finally sacked her and she took it off.
Did the Dalek change? Because it was darker in the beginning, and now it's a lighter gray. You know, I've never noticed that before.
It's pretty beaten up Dalek, though.
It's a different Dalek.
No, it's the same one. It's all beaten up. It's got one with red eyes, red ears.
No. If you go back, it was darker.
Probably color grading.
And am I the only one that the voice for this Dalek, I think, is really close to Briggs? Like, listening to this as a new Who person, I was like, this is really close to Briggs.
This is Roy Skelton and Zippy. Roy Skelton.
I don't know if Briggs was inspired, but I can really see the similarities.
Yeah,
it was the lighting. You're right.
Daleks,
yeah,
I've heard. I'm like, oh god, that sounds weird to me.
It would have been good if there was more Daleks in the Five Doctors. You know.
No, just the one. But see, the one here with the broken slats on the side.
No, it's falling to bits.
It's from. That one is actually from the Tom Baker, where they find Davros in the city.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's been repainted.
This is the bit that scared my sister under the sofa. The dead mutant. Brilliant effect.
Yeah, because you see the things sort of going like crazy, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that was the first time we got to see the inside of a Dalek too here in the States, because we hadn't seen the old
Genesis
episode.
Yeah.
Well, you really only saw them like that in Resurrection.
Yeah, Power of the Daleks was the first time you kind of saw a Dalek mutant, but that was lost.
Right.
Another big American favorite for Doctor Who was the one with Ace beating up the Dalek. I forgot the name. Remembrance.
Remembrance, yeah.
Remembrance.
I think for this
that's a fan
Gallifrey
favorite.
in the Five Doctors, they should have put an orange filter over it.
Yeah.
honestly, I think it's time for, and I'm not even joking, an extra special edition.
Yeah.
Well, they
For
explain that.
Blu-ray.
They explain that it's the force field that's over the.
Yeah, because it's the same
Yeah.
technology from the war games, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
love the scene when Troughton's just like,
You in?
I love Troughton now. He's just like, I'll just whack it. That'll do.
Here we go. I'm just
Don't let
wondering.
a Cyberman touch you because you become fused to it.
Yeah. I'm wondering who Pertwee's original companion was going to be, because I thought Liz was going to be Tom Baker originally.
I don't know. Maybe Joe. Maybe.
Maybe Kate Manning was
Yeah.
probably dropped.
Yeah.
Well,
that was another one, Rabbi, back in the day. Joe.
What was they trying to get Carolyn St. John, weren't they?
I was like 11 or 12, and Joe with those mini skirts. I mean,
yeah,
used to drive me crazy. I never found Sarah that attractive, but Joe, she had a mystique about
I
her.
always found her a bit of a strong female character, actually.
Yeah.
Joe was just intrinsically sexy. I mean, she Manning is sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wasn't attracted to Sarah as I mean, I could date her. I could see myself dating her, but it wasn't like you didn't have those boyhood thoughts when you're looking at her.
So
It was more of
undignified. Of course, Sarah Jane. Just just drag him. Just get dragged up by that rope.
Yeah.
Not dignified in the slightest for her, really, is it?
Sarah was like your sister, you know.
Yeah.
You wanted to help. You wanted to protect her. She was small, but she was cocky, and I mean, that was one of the great things about her.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, this was all filmed in the Welsh countryside, so it was absolutely freezing.
She was a good
companion. You can see that Troughton was kind of freezing as well, probably drinking whiskey to keep himself warm under that furry coat.
Well, Pertwee, he's decked out to the tops. I mean, he's not going to be cold at all. Look at that jacket.
Yeah.
And they had a little heater inside of Bessie.
Plus he was sat in a car for half of this, so he was all right.
Yeah, Bessie had a little heater in the center.
Yeah.
I would love a car like Bessie, but unfortunately, I've got nowhere to park it, and I can't drive. So.
Not can I.
And also, I just want to say I think Davidson's done really good so far with this sort of not feeling like the whole thing. He's fine for 5 minutes and then he faints. Like I think he's done really well with this whole stuff at the beginning.
Yeah.
See what they wanted to do with Peter Davison, they wanted to make his regeneration like a vulnerability to his doctor, because after the regeneration from Tom into him, they wanted him to be completely vulnerable in his performances and all that, because the regeneration went wrong.
It's a shame they never brought Susan back apart from this.
Imagine if Susan came back for like series 10. You know, when we saw all those photographs in Capaldi's desk in the pilot.
Well, Big did a Susan War box set, which was excellent.
Wasn't she in Sarah Jane Adventures?
No, I never.
No, she wasn't.
Joe was.
I have to say that police box looks great, especially in locations.
It's like
it's a very different console, but she knows how to use it.
Love that TARDIS
instinctively.
Always loved the Five Doctors TARDIS. That was the first time we've seen it revamped since Tom Baker.
Yeah. The late Pertwee early Tom Baker refit, I tried to revamp like 3 or 4 times with Pertwee, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that Peter was a fan, you can see it when he's interacting. Even though this isn't the first Doctor, he's acting like it is. And I think you can just see it because he's a fan.
Yeah.
He was the first one to grow up, wasn't he, with it by that point?
Yeah.
Yeah, and his doctors were Hartnell and Troughton.
Yeah. And you can just see the reverence. He just with his incarnation, which is nice considering the first Doctor almost treats him a bit like a grandson in this. He sort of calls him like, oh, I can't remember the phrase. He has a few like nice little phrases about him.
Now, see, okay, here's the difference between this and the way that Moffat wrote Capaldi with the first Doctor. He was cranky and cantankerous here. He wasn't a sexist, out of time bigot like they portrayed him in that,
Hundle tried
Christmas special.
to portray him as the grumpy old man, as Hartnell really was. Grumpy old man.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the difference. Whereas, later they're portraying him as a out of time sexist with Bill. I mean, that was.
He seemed like a wee bit kind of buffoonery, a wee bit stupid, and it just didn't come across as, the Doctor, the first Doctor. Although David Bradley has a striking resemblance to William Hartnell, it's just it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
I think the thing that there was multiple things that knocked me with that, but you know what really knocked me? It's not me. It was the fact that Capaldi's Doctor acted like he was ashamed of him.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no Doctor would be ashamed of. Like, we've all sort of joked when Doctors get together, they can be a bit sort of. They can have a few lines. They can be a bit. Oh, I think I'm better. Like, it's all as a joke. There's no real shame or sort of badness between Doctors, and it just came across to me like Capaldi's Doctor was acting like, I wish I was never like that, and it was just like, no Doctor would act like that around another incarnation.
No.
I
wasn't really too keen on his last episode, Capaldi's last episode, Christmas special, Twice Upon a Time.
Did you catch that reference, though? That really drove me crazy when I saw that. The Master, he says, one of my predecessors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, and I was a bit confused.
Yeah, so he had been in the Death Zone before, and that's a story we never got to see.
His predecessors were... He's talking about the members of the High Council went in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought he was talking about himself, because he was in a black cape, this dead body was.
Oh, goodbye. Yeah, so.
Look how cold Troughton is there.
Yeah.
You can see it in him.
Yeah.
His nose is red and his ears are red.
He's powering through.
Well, I gotta say, those two actors, they were just made to play off of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just do such a great job.
Had they been together, these two, before this in any scenes? Because I don't think the Brig would have met the second Doctor, would he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Rassilon,
the three Doctors.
Rassilon, the greatest figure in Time Lord history. Not anymore. It's Tecteun now.
Right. Who the rumor is that Tecteun was the one holding her face in the end of time to the left of Rassilon when he showed up.
Originally, that was supposed to be the Doctor's mother.
Something like that.
Well, Tecteun technically is the Doctor's adopted mother, so that's what they're trying to say she was in the end of time.
Sorry, Doctor, your mother's Joseph Mengele. Oh, I loved the Americans when they all turned on the turned at the Comic-Con on that and turned around and said, "Look, she's a child abuser." And it's like, "Yep, what we've been saying." Yeah.
I love the Cybermen in this and the Rastin Warrior robot. I was such a fan of that.
Yeah.
That was great. Beautifully done as well.
Well, it brought like a richness to the universe that we hadn't seen when I was a kid. I was like 11 when I saw it. So I'm like, they have this thing called the Rastin Warrior robot that can kill Cybermen. I wonder, what was it? Gallifreyan made? Did some other race make it? I mean, where did it come from? It was, everybody went nuts. There was a group of us. We would watch the DVD together. I mean, I'm sorry, the VHS. When we went over to our friend's house, we were watching it together. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Now here's a question: do you think if the Master would have come across any of the other Doctors, they would have actually listened to him.
No, I don't think so.
Like,
I think that the
Do you not think any
Doctors.
of them would have?
No.
Yeah.
Well, Annie and his master.
'Cause I was thinking, I was just wondering, because I was like, obviously, Third Doctor had a lot of bad experiences with the Master in general, so I was wondering if people thought maybe Davidson.
Let alone Annie's master, who is, let's face it, a creepy gay rapist in black velvet.
It's nice that they've got asphalt on.
Explaining him, like he is the worst nightmare you want to be locked up in prison with. Wait, Doctor, I'm a weird guy in a black cloak. Like
It's nice that they've got asphalt
No,
roads on Gallifrey, isn't it?
Yeah, but I like the way Pertwee treats him.
Oh, it's funny.
But again, they had it in the war games, so yeah, it's plausible. They had houses and stuff in the war games as well.
Looks like a cycle route.
My, you've changed.
Best enemy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It takes you back to when he was in the prison and the Master was held in prison and he was visiting him.
Yeah.
And even in the TV movie, they kind of laterly adopted the beard for Gordon Tipple's Master. It was just a brief kind of thing in the intro. You saw him being executed. But
Yeah.
I think Chimnall had watched the comedy special with Rowan Atkinson.
yeah,
And got his idea for the Doctor to go and said, well, let's make that for real.
you see,
He's
it was
an idiot.
regenerating, and the Doctor regenerating into a woman was just a tongue in the cheek joke. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously because this is because we always knew the Doctor would regenerate into another man. It would just be like a tongue in the cheek comment by Tom Baker when he was leaving, and that is just or the newspapers just to kind of fuel speculation and excitement. But that was just about it. It was never to be taken seriously.
BBC Micro. Yeah. I'd love to see
when
Joanna Lumley as a Doctor, though. That'd be funny.
She would have been good, I would think, Joanna Lumley.
Yeah.
Olivia Colman would have been great.
Yeah, she'd have been amazing. She's got that little bit of age behind her as well, Olivia Colman. But
Yeah.
she's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, goodbye, Bessie.
Bye-bye, Bessie. We'll see you again, Bessie. We'll see you in the future.
With a nose job.
And just a reminder, kids, for why Tom's not in the episode.
I love what they did at the photo shoot for this.
oh, what with Andrew Ford?
Yeah. Tom's looking a bit waxy today.
Yeah.
That was one of John Nathan Turner's greatest hits. That was.
Well, that's when he was flying high.
Yeah.
He should have left with Peter Davison.
Yeah. He got trapped, didn't he? Though apparently.
Well,
He just-
the thing is, if he hadn't kept going, no one else would have taken the job on. That was it.
No,
He
but
stayed
that's-
on only because no one else wanted it.
Baker, it fell apart. If he left with Peter Davison, he would have had new blood come in. He would have
No,
gone.
because no one wanted to touch it. The BBC
Yeah.
wanted to get rid of it, and they thought, well, if he goes, we can get rid of it. But so
Yeah,
he stayed. He hung around.
That was like 2 or 3 years later. Right now, BBC were really, really happy with him. In fact, the whole Longleat thing blew their minds at how popular Doctor Who was, and they were just at this was like the 80s where we're just getting like this like commercialism come in.
Actually,
Like,
this was
Ray's favorite thing ever. Nearly.
this was this story actually was responsible for why Tripods didn't get a third series because all the money went into this.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah,
It's a shame because Tripods could have done with a third series.
yeah.
It could have done like 6 episodes less on the first series.
Yeah. A bit long and boring in the first
All
series.
the budget was sunk into this.
These belong to like the teeny tiny Tripods fan club.
It's for laughing.
Yeah, that was Matt Irvine doing the special effects on that as well.
Yeah. I used to have like a model tripod, one of a pewter one.
Wow. Yeah, it didn't really merchandise. That's a problem with the BBC. They didn't really merchandise back then. Now they over merchandise.
Again, I like that little ice cream party they made themselves there.
Yeah.
Pineapples and
Yeah, it's like a little picnic.
You
And
gotta
I think
love it.
Richard Herndl does a very, very sort of Bill Hartnell thing with the cheese. I can imagine him doing it.
That's a pineapple.
Yeah,
Or pineapple. Okay, whatever. It was.
The fact that they left that in there
I
is
see all the
funny.
sandwiches.
They couldn't do second takes because you got Sarah Jane trying to pick a wedgie out while the third doctor's talking to her there, and they left it in. And you can clearly see her doing it.
It seems to be like in a deserted village with Autons instead of Cybermen.
So that's the first encounter Pertwee had with a Cyberman.
Oh yeah, they were never in
Yeah.
the original.
Never
Yeah.
in Pertwee's. They were going to be, but I think it was taken out.
Yeah,
And
Tom
they're my
Baker
favorite
did the-
Cybermen. The 80s Cybermen were my favorite.
Yeah.
The Earthshock ones are quite good. And
Yeah.
they're just basically the same ones that were in Earthshock.
Yeah.
When I saw the Cyber Controller with the black painted head, but you could see the brain through the little...
Yeah.
That was awesome. And then I liked it when they had the clear chin, so you could see the jaw of the human mouth moving. I thought that was cool too, but I loved their outfit. They were more humanoid than robot, and I think that's what's lost in the new series. They made him like a brain inside of a metal body where it should be part
That's where the
cybernetic.
Borg Star Trek came from, the Cybermen.
Yeah.
So a lot of the Star Trek people writing Star Trek are massive Doctor Who fans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this is
I
a
can
good
see
scene
that.
coming up here. I mean, this is the Yeti making its appearance again. Different costume this time for the Yeti.
And again, that for us who've never seen the Troughton episodes, but maybe like one or two, you didn't know about the Yeti, and you saw it in here. I mean, I didn't even know that there was a little metal ball in its chest, and none of us knew that. We just thought it was an actual creature that was stuck here.
Never had an idea it was a robot.
Yeah, we
No.
saw the Great Intelligence again. Though. We just never saw the Yetis again.
We'd never seen that over in the States, when this came out.
That's what I liked about the Snowman. It was the Great Intelligence was back.
Oh, my favorite Cybermen. I love them. And those guns.
Yeah.
You do
They
sort of
got
have
the
that moment
spirals.
of, sorry, like, how have you not heard
Sorry,
them?
John.
The closer these things get. Sorry, my best
Yeah.
is a bit not brilliant tonight.
Yeah, you
Like, the
broke
closer
up
the
for a bit.
Cybermen get. Right, am I normal now?
Yeah, you're fine. Go ahead.
I
I
do
think the
that-
Earthshock ones are a wee bit kind of frightening. Back then, I mean, when I was about 4 or 5 year old when I first saw them, and I
Yeah.
saw them in an exhibition in Blackpool. I mean, they're very, very scary because the second time I went to Blackpool, it was like they were walking about, and I was absolutely terrified.
Yeah. Yeah, for my first science fiction convention, they had a Cybermen walking around where it was people in Cybermen suits.
Yeah.
BBC was sponsoring it. There was a couple of the original Daleks there as well.
Oh, did any of you guys?
The Daleks.
Did any of you guys manage to go to the Doctor Who experience? I did in Cardiff. That was so
I would
much
have
fun.
loved to.
I
I
did
managed
the
to
Olympia.
go.
Did the Olympia one. I thought it was really good.
No, I
No.
managed.
I was kind of sad that I heard that it closed down because
Yeah.
I wanted to go.
Oh, it
There
was.
a magazine devoted to it.
Yeah.
Oh, but it was so good for me because I happened to go when Matt was the Doctor and he was my Doctor. So the introduction bit you did before you went in was like a little mini adventure,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
Matt. So me and my friend were just like buzzing, and like we'd walk through a bit, and there would be Daleks, and I can't remember. I don't know if it was Angels. So I think that was Capaldi. They re-skinned it to have Angels,
Yeah.
and oh, it was so fun just to stand next to like the face of Bo, like
Yeah.
a Dalek.
Yeah, because you did the one what they had in the Olympia until
Like
they revamped
that.
it. Yeah. Did the same one I did. They
Mm.
moved it into Wales.
It would be great to see the replica police boxes, TARDISes, and up close and personal, and eating the console, the first Doctor's console. Up
Still got
close and personal.
Davidson's. They've still got Davidson's TARDIS. Which I was surprised at.
I mean, the first time I saw a Dalek was at the exhibition in Blackpool in 1985. And I remember getting myself a photograph standing next to it. But it was in poor
Susan
condition.
twisting her ankle again.
Yeah.
It was poor condition. And I don't know if it was one from the 5 Doctors, but it was in poor condition. It was sitting outside, and I remember it didn't have a sink plunger on it, and it had a kind of wee kind of plaque or something on it. It says, "Don't touch the Dalek," or something like that.
Someone ran off with half the Dalek.
Yeah.
Sounds like they've been sitting in some sort of second-hand shop or something.
Yeah. But I did see Bessie. I did see Bessie back in 1985, and I wanted to go into the Doctor's car and get a photograph taken, but my mum says, "Oh, don't bother. Just."
Yeah.
I think it was about £5 a photograph.
Oh, expensive.
You know, the first time I saw the Doctor Who experience in Cardiff was on the VH. I keep saying DVD. The VHS with Shada with Tom Baker introducing the story.
Yeah.
That was the first time I'd ever seen it.
Yeah, because they had they had all the TARDISes, and just even though you couldn't go on them, which I still think obviously they couldn't do that because it would keep it more safer and better condition. But a bit of me was like, come on, let us go on the TARDIS. Let us go on a little bit. They had like railings you couldn't actually go on. It was a bit annoying. You could just look.
That would have been cool.
I was actually really disappointed by the Longleat one. I went to the Longleat one when I was a kid, and I was a bit disappointed by it.
Oh, I love Longleat. What year did you go?
Oh, it must have been like about 1988 or something, 89.
Oh, I went there. It's about time I went. They had it was good then. That's when they just revamped it. They had the Trial spaceship as you went in, and like the Pepper's ghost thing with the dart. They really. I went there a few times, but I thought that was a pretty. Later on, it was better.
Yeah, I must have been there just before the revamp then.
No, I think
remember.
I think 88. You're probably after.
Oh,
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah,
I remember the Blackpool TARDIS.
5 years earlier.
The Blackpool
it was
TARDIS
disappointing.
console was just like the Longleat one, but it even had panels all around it and screens where the monsters were behind it, and
Yeah.
it had controls that you could play about with and all
Yeah.
that. But you couldn't touch the console because there was a kind of barrier around it. But I went in and I started flicking switches and all that. And my dad started flicking switches, and the column moved and all that. And the wee man came out and started shouting. He said, "Hey, you're not supposed to touch that." And I ran out outside the opposite way of the exhibition, and away out the front doors, and I could hear the TARDIS sound going off.
Yeah, that's it. You put a TARDIS console in front of a fan. We want to touch it. We want to have a go. It's just something we do.
Well, they mentioned it at one point.
I've got the full schematics of that TARDIS, by the way. That console, the room with all the windows on it and the controls. We're actually using that for part of our TARDIS schematics book because we're going to do supplementals, Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. Default. We're using that in there as the Mark 4.
Yeah. I see
it's different from all of them.
I see that it's influenced Matt Smith's second TARDIS with the panels going around the console.
It did. You're right.
Kind of influenced it a bit.
And the octagon shape too of the room was similar.
Did anything go to the was it the Who experience where you got to see the TARDISes and the consoles?
Yeah.
And okay, so it was a recreation of the first Matt Smith TARDIS room. But then when you go to the exhibition, you can see you could go on the set of the David Tennant one, and then they brought in the Peter Davison one.
Yeah,
you know how much smaller it was. And that was freaky.
Yeah, that was a Doctor Who adventure. I saw the one at Olympia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with the Daleks, the first time I saw a Dalek, I couldn't believe how big it was. I mean,
Yeah, I was the
it's
same
like
when they had them.
they're actually huge.
Yeah. Quite wide, aren't they?
Yeah. I've been inside a Dalek at an exhibition. It was just like an exhibition at one of the local libraries way back in '98, and I was inside a Dalek. I got because I donated my scarf, my Tom Baker scarf to them, and they loved it. And I got inside one of the Daleks, and I sat inside one, and I had taken a pedal my feet to move it along.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very difficult to kind of move because you were always bumping into things, and I was saying sorry to the owner who built the Daleks, but it was just like I could just imagine what it would have been like in them for getting filming and all that, and how kind of warm it would start to get inside one of these things.
It's like poor old Kenny Baker when he used to get left behind in the R2 costume.
And I remember the ice stock. Yeah. The ice stock had some kind of pulley, and you just pulled it down, and to move the ice stock up and down, and you had a kind of you had a kind of pull to push the plunger, and you had this thing for the gun. You know, it was a lot of things in there, and imagine they had to put the lights on to kind of indicate that the Dalek was talking and all that. So it would have been very difficult to do all that.
In a minute. Is this the Rasta Warrior robot in a minute?
Yeah, this is it.
Oh, I gotta see this. Quality.
Love this. And the way the doctor's like, don't move, Sarah. Do not move.
Yeah.
I love this.
This is quite a convincing robot, in my opinion. I mean, it gives you that sense that it is biomechanical. It's like something
more convincing
really
than Chameleon was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you talking about the guy in this? No, it does not look convincing. It looks like a fella in.
Oh, well, now when you see these kind of people in the streets, you know, like sometimes you can see people dressed with these kind of silver shields over their faces and moving about to music and all that.
No, it does not look convincing. It looks like a Power Ranger villain reject.
That's the appeal. It's a robot with a humanoid form in this like silver jumpsuit,
and it was before any Power Ranger, darling.
Yeah.
I know, but it looks like if anybody knows Power Rangers, a pussy.
Well, funny enough,
it looks like a pussy.
And it's extremely deadly. I mean, look at the way it shoots its arrows.
Well, funny enough, in the comics, they've got blue and red ones, which are supposed to be the controllers or the guardians of the time lock from the Time War.
Wow.
So they have them like this, but in different colors. And they have like dimensional powers or something. If you've read the newer comics.
That'd be
the Capaldi ones.
Like I said, different generation commenting right now, but I just like it funny.
It's all right.
Oh, there's a great cutaway of it. Let's see.
Well done, Turlo, for not murdering the Doctor.
Let's see.
Call me Doc.
You can see pylons in the distance. Electric pylons.
Don't call me Doc Part 2.
The Doctor doesn't like being called Doc for some reason. I mean, look how the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's is called Doc all the time. I mean, she never bothers.
Yeah.
No, but he'll let Ace get away with calling him Professor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a title, isn't it? It sort of sounds respectful.
One higher up,
Doc
Doctor.
doesn't sound as respectful.
Yeah.
Plus, 7 had a bit of an ego at times, so it probably helped him with that.
Yeah. Okay, get the sausages.
Yeah. Nice bit of barbecue.
Gonna throw barbecue.
It looks like that casket of the TV movie, you know, where the Master was kept in it.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like it in a way.
Yeah.
I think Sudoku's going to probably message me after this stream because he's not happy I've compared it to Power Rangers.
Oh,
You get Ninja Knight after you as well.
not the mind probe.
I mean,
Another
listen,
classic line.
I understand. Mind probe, like, yeah, no problem.
Was that a
I love what I did with the door handles.
that
I
was
mean,
a
they shouldn't
Star
have
Wars
killed
reference,
the
wasn't it?
Castellan. I mean, the Castellan was from the previous, the Invasion of Time. I mean, get rid of the Castellan.
There's always been a Castellan. I'm sure it's the same actor, though.
Wasn't the Castellan in Star Wars? It's one of the extras on one of the ships.
No, who knows?
Might have been.
And look, Time Lords
Not
can't
the
be easily
Mind
killed.
Probe.
I mean, seriously.
They had a lot of British actors in Star Wars.
Mr. Bronson was in Star Wars.
Right.
And Grown Chill.
Was he a well-known actor? The guy who's the
Yeah.
counselor in this.
Yeah. He was, whatever, established.
Lady didn't last long, did she? I thought they'd done with the handles on the door.
Half of them are all dead now, and Peter Davison's the only one that's living in this. In Gallifrey.
Yeah.
Oh, is
Yeti
this
Tone.
the scene?
Yep.
This is the Yeti scene.
So this must be not a robot Yeti, but one of the real Yetis from the end of the Abominable Snowman.
Must have been, yeah.
Could have been.
Although he's got that same Yeti toilet flush raw.
Oh, this is a Web of Fear, a rethinking of the Web of Fear. So hat nod to the Web of Fear.
Well, you wouldn't think there was a man inside that. It's just like a.
Just realised because that was was that Lethbridge Stewart's first episode of Web of Fear?
I wonder if that was Jelly Babies.
Yeah.
Probably was.
That was his weed.
He's got a firework there.
Yeah, yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
Well, they did that with they started with
Watch
that with
the
Fifth
rock
Doctor,
fall.
didn't they? Having loads of stuff in the pockets, and then they couldn't keep it up, so they just dropped it.
Yeti.
Yeah.
And I liked how they had those, you know,
Look at it, it's a huge
nursery
net.
rhymes. Off to Rassilon's tower we go. Must choose above between below.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was pretty cool.
Brigadier, you're burning the set down.
Yeah.
This is actually a cave there.
I mean, considering there's a bunch of light right behind them, you think that maybe there is a way out.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Is there caves in Wales? I mean,
Yeah.
this is a cave.
Oh yeah, there's caves in Wales.
And this is probably a polystyrene cutout.
yeah, it's a very polystyrene door in a real cave.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nicholas Courtney was Colonel Lethbridge Stewart in the Web of Fear.
I'm sorry, say that again.
That's nice.
Nicholas Courtney first appeared in the Web of Fear.
That's correct.
So
Yeah.
that was a bit of a throwback to the Web of Fear there with the Second Doctor and Brigadier.
One of my favourite Second Doctor stories.
Yeah, Web of Fear was great. I'm glad they found that one.
Yeah.
So glad.
How did Susan know about the Cybermen? I mean,
She's a cyber lady. I mean, she's a time lord, a time lady.
Yeah.
maybe advanced knowledge and knowing.
Has anyone heard the what do you may call it, the little radio play that she did about what happened afterwards? She got left
Yeah,
behind.
I heard that.
She got picked up.
Yeah.
Time Lords.
But then again, you know, she saw the Cybermen when she was with Tegan. So Tegan would have explained who they were. She didn't know who the Cybermen were anyway.
And also, yeah, she's been about, I guess.
Yeah, but Gallifreyans would have known about the Cybermen.
Right.
Well, they didn't know who the Daleks were when they first saw them.
No.
Puking up.
Oh, it's best, but yeah, I like that shot there. I love it when they're coming.
Oh, the music's picking up.
Yeah.
Plus,
I like it when our Cybermen are blown to bits.
Yeah, and it's literally just shooting little like poles. It looks like that anyway. No, it's probably
Cybermen.
It does look a bit Japanese. I see what you're talking about now.
Watch this.
Puking Cybermen, yep.
I love it. I love the puking Cyberman.
I like how he can just pull one of those little things out of his hand and he just chops the Cyberman head off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a blade from his arm.
This was like watching the T2 Terminator, you know, years before they did it.
T1000, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I always thought they used them in the Time War.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When you think about it, I mean, they're.
Oh, I love that. Poof.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Awesome. Dang, I know I had this picture on my computer, but I can't find it. It's a Rastan Warrior robot, but it shows you what's underneath of the leotard.
Ooh,
I say, man.
Steady now.
So you'll get Lee excited.
I ain't robosexual, darling.
Okay, darling.
You're not, what's his face from Star Wars? Solo.
Oh, yeah. Lando.
Dave Brown. Oh, Lando, yeah.
Lando. Oh,
That
they
really
have a
disappointed
Pepsi
me,
version.
Yeah, it really disappointed me in the last Star Wars film.
They've done a Pepsi version of the Rastan Warrior robot.
Well,
I
think the Fifth Doctor needs to replace his vegetable. It's looking a bit.
It's looking a bit wilty.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know if it's a freeze-dried bit of celery.
He spent most of the episode running about, so maybe that's why. He's not been still for like 5 minutes. The Fifth Doctor.
There's one thing that got to Peter Davis, and I mean, he didn't like celery.
Not a big fan of it either.
No. It's okay.
Oh wow, I've never seen that. Oh,
That's an amazing scene.
What a dude.
Good shot, Doctor.
I've never seen these before. Let me put this in the.
Imagine
The trouble is with that much slack in the rope, you get stuck in the middle, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Those are the silver nemesis. Oh my gosh! Yeah, they look way different.
They're all chromed, the Silver Nemesis ones.
They're chromed. Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
They got cricket gloves on. Yeah, I didn't think they looked great in Silver Nemesis.
Pull her up.
Good
Wow.
episode, though.
I don't think they looked quite good when they were all chromed.
No, with the cricket gloves as well, yeah.
Yeah. It looks like they melted down some silverware and formed into the masks and helmet. I prefer the ones from the Five Doctors here. I like the way they look.
Not a convincing special effect there. Oh.
I think I'm gonna have to bounce in a minute. I'm
Okay,
trying to
Rabbi.
find it open.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's been a long day today for me.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna say sign off.
Okay, Rabbi.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign
Rabbi.
off too. I'm a
everybody.
bit tired tonight.
See you later, Rabbi.
Oh, Rabbi. Oh,
Have
is
a
he
good-
gone?
He's gone.
I'm
he's
just
gone.
about to go as well because I'm a
Didn't
wee
get
bit
his
kind of tired
score.
tonight.
Should have had his score next time.
I'll give it a 10 out of 10 for
There
me.
you go. I'm sure Rabbi will give it a high score.
Right, I'll catch you later.
Take care,
John.
Super Doctor.
Oh, Super Doctor. I'll eventually get that right.
Oh well.
I love this scene. You have to pay to kid.
Well, it's the pairing, isn't it, of Tegan and him. It's
Yeah.
a very clever
Two-
pairing.
Yeah, two grumpy sods.
It's like opposites, isn't it? It's like he can be just as like I'm the one who's in the right as her. So you just have two characters.
Well, I think there's more that they're more alike.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The stubbornness, like
Glad they updated the special effects on this one.
But it's in keeping with the period, though.
see, I can't help but think of a bit Indiana Jones with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Like with the cave and now this, it's like booby traps, isn't it?
Wow. Keith Hodiak was the Rastin Warrior robot.
God, yeah, I do miss Anthony Ainley though as a master. He was there right through the Destiny of the Doctors.
Oh, Vanessa, I didn't know about that. I'll have to check. I can't comment in the chat, so I'll just say I'll have to check if Matt's in something because I'll definitely see what it is.
Excuse me. All right. I'm going to give this a 10. I have to get going. I just shot a card. Is that a real card of the Rastin Warrior robot there? Or is that something somebody created? It's in the chat. Private chat.
Okay, problem. You can probably look better than me.
That might be. Yeah, it looks like a real card.
That's a real card?
Might be.
So it was a classic Doctor Who card game?
Might have been. I don't know.
CCG.
Don't know if CCG did one. I got the Star Trek one.
Well, I have my Tops cards coming out. 10%. I haven't forgotten.
Oh, yeah. Played that game in ages.
Problem being, you're definitely up for a good extortion, huh? All right, let's see. So you got the lone cyber leader. Was that? Who was the guy that played in? He was in Silver Nemesis, the lead cyber leader there.
Sounds like William
Can
Gaunt,
Google
but it's
it,
not.
can you?
It starts with a C. I think it was Cameron or something like that. He was in the Doctor Who magazine. I remember reading articles about him. He had played Cybermen off and on throughout Davison's era and Baker's era. The way he spoke through the mask, I mean, it just made you feel like it was this menacing.
Yeah.
It was quite scary.
When did Tegan give a shit about Cybermen as well?
Doing him a favour, Tegan. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Putting them out of misery.
It's
Exactly.
as easy as pie.
And you know what? When I was a
David
kid, I didn't
Banks
even
was
know what
cyber
pie
leader.
was.
Thanks, Digby, in the chat.
I had no clue what pi was when I was a kid until I watched this. You know, with the mathematical principle.
Yeah.
You learn a lot of stuff.
Stop the circle.
Yeah. I learned a lot of stuff. I did level 2 mathematics and finally passed it, and then forgot it all.
Now the computer can do it all for you if you have the right
Yeah.
program,
Yeah, exactly.
including equations.
Yeah.
Oh, I got what I needed grade wise, and I was so happy with maths. I never had to touch it again.
Oh my god, yeah. Get level 2 maths. It's like, oh, thank God, finally. I've always been really weak at maths. Everyone says, "Oh, your maths is very good to me." I've always been really weak at it. Been better at English. Better at writing smarmy letters.
Come on, ooh.
I think my essays were always the worst. I was good at math, English, prepositions, consonants, vowels.
Well, I used to think my essays were the worst until I moved to universities and found out they weren't. It was just the university I was at.
In my case, it was the subject matter I would pick. The teacher always wanted us to do something that was more along the lines of PC.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do something on Caesar or King Arthur, the legend. White male stuff was just frowned upon.
Yeah.
Even then.
Fifth Doctor doing a bit of investigating now.
Especially if you do like the Shogun,
Yeah.
I did a lot of stuff on Japanese too. That was fantastic.
First degree black belt in Iaido. Which is the way of the sword. Japanese way of drawing the sword.
Love that.
Yeah, I used to do it as a martial art. I can't really do it now because of the cove.
We used to do shadow boxing, me and my friends.
Wow.
We were big time into it was late 90s. Big time into like Muay Thai and that was when what's his name was around. Big Van Damme, Jean-Claude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, I gotta get going. The missus is giving me a look.
Okay.
We could have you as long as we did, Adam.
Well, it's glad I'm glad to be here, and like I said, this was one that I normally I'm not on Saturdays, but I had to jump in on it because this is my jam.
There's Liz. I think Liz was going to be the other companion, but
this was my childhood right here.
Yeah. She was going to be. I think she was going to be a companion, but then she had to fall back to a just a cameo.
Yeah.
Because Tom Baker didn't want to,
Yeah, but
I gotta see Jamie and Zoe real quick.
Anyway, wouldn't she match Pertwee? Oh, but you said okay. Now I get it.
Yeah, this is only a cameo appearance. It's because she's only a ghost technically a ghost.
I do think it's a shame that Jamie wasn't full time in this.
Yeah.
I think Jamie would have worked.
Brought Fraser back for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I would have liked to have seen actually his reactions to the other doctors. I think I really would have liked to have seen that.
Well, you see him in the 2 Doctors with Colin Baker and Troughton.
So it kind of makes up for it.
Yeah, it just would have been nice. You're right to see him with Pertwee.
Nice to see St. John back though. I'd really like to.
All right, I gotta get going.
Okay. I'll be having on board.
10 out of 10.
There you go.
10 for Adam then.
Thanks very much, Adam.
Yeah,
Take care.
You're welcome. Take care, guys. I'll talk to you later.
Talk soon. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm losing my other selves.
I was going to say, we're sort of like the episode producing, aren't we? Now there was 4.
Yeah. And there were 4. Oh, here we go. We're coming up to the big meeting in the room now.
Oh, yeah.
Love that bit.
I thought Auntie Amy was a great master. He'll never beat Delgado, but it was a good, very, very good replacement for Delgado.
But it was such a hard thing to follow on from, wasn't it?
Yeah, Amy was the best choice. Amy was the best choice.
Yeah. I said he was right through to the end.
And you should You should look up his family history. It's really interesting.
Wow.
He looks He's the spitting image of his father.
Wow.
And his father was a hell of a looker back in the day as well. Like, whoa.
Was Anti-Alien secretly an immortal?
Sorry?
Was he secretly an immortal?
Yes.
He didn't actually die. He disappeared. He just disappeared.
All his brothers look quite similar. They've got the same sort of gene.
Yeah. Actually, I have to say my program leader at university looks a little like Anthony Ainley. I do wonder.
My physics teacher looked exactly like Leonard Nimoy.
Oh my god!
So she's called him Dr. Spock because he was like physics teacher. So.
Oh, love, what have they got you wearing? Is that Victoria?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, love, they've got you in bubble wrap.
Yeah. God, there's the costume. Sorry, yeah, the fashion on the wheel in space is terrible, isn't it? Really.
It's bubble wrap again, yeah.
Yeah, bubble wrap.
And then you've got Jamie in full light Scottish kilt.
Yeah.
Could he be any more Scottish?
Yeah,
because
they're in their actual attires, aren't they? Yeah. Everyone in the future will be wearing bubble wrap.
Yeah,
Do you know why they're wearing bubble wrap?
Yeah,
People
that'll
become
say
so
Jamie's very
soft that they have to wear bubble wrap to protect themselves.
but that's scared.
Yeah, she's a millennial of the future. Yeah. Yeah, you just triggered a memory off Charlotte. I've got a picture of a millennial. It's like, some guy dressed up as a millennial for Halloween. He just put like a bubble wrap on.
Yeah. That's even if we'll have that in the future, but we won't dwell on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then here's the thing: we can't really criticise Troughton's in that coat, so it's like.
Now we know why Zoe ran off with the doctor, so it's all fine now.
Yeah.
Get away from them.
Oh, we've got this scene coming up. I adore this scene when he finds out. I adore this scene. Like I said, this was the story that made me really like Davidson, and it was It was that moment when he realizes and he has the confrontation. And I'll say this again: just look at his eyes. Like, that is impressive acting.
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Tomb of Watchalong.
Sounds like it needs tuning. I love this music as well.
Yeah. It was church organ and some kind of horn they used to play.
Mm. Funny how the ancient Gallifreyan is a propensity for ancient Greek.
Yeah. Now it's all circles.
Yeah.
Tegan's been very nice for her. Yeah.
It's pretty good. Sarah Jane will slap her one if she can't step to our line.
A rhubarb at the end. That's what they do, isn't it? Rhubarb. Yeah.
And now we have the meeting, nearly. Yeah, that's all of them until Davidson appears.
I love the way he just pushes them out of the way.
If Doctor Who survives... Go on.
I said it's that fun banter, isn't it, of they're like brothers. They don't get on all the time and they have little snipes and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, God, if Doctor Who lasts another 20, 30 years, it's all female doctors. Oh, my God. Imagine their version of this. A cat fight. Oh.
I love that. It's like, oh, good God. Typical. Absolutely typical.
Yeah, and now you've got the companions who do like group therapy. So like,
companions are all
is he as bad as you? They're like, yeah, that happened. Yes, he does this to me as well.
Comparing notes.
Yeah, it's like who had the most annoying time.
Yeah. God, the future companions will be sitting in the corner.
It's like all the exes getting together, bitching about the ex. You know.
That was great bit at school reunion when
That's why I quite. Yeah, I was going to say I love that scene with Sarah Jane when they did that. When they shouted out what monsters they say.
Monster.
Monster.
Yeah.
And then when he comes in,
just thought I'd pop in and say hello. I'm just to explain if anybody's just wondering. Cheryl is just feeling a bit under the weather, so I'm in and out. I'm looking after the dog and making sure she's okay and stuff. But I've been watching. I've just but I'm watching on my computer, so that's why I've had the volume off. I've been muted because obviously if I watch on this with the sound on, you would hear it, so we don't want that to happen. But I see Rabbi is gone. I know he had to go, and Super John. So did they get the plug and all there? Yeah.
No. They just went.
Yeah, didn't even get a score off Rabbi.
Daniel's been, yeah.
Well, listen, from now on, and I don't, from now on, we're going to start straight away because, know, if we start straight away, then people won't be leaving. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, we'll do it that way. So next week when we do it, we're just straight in, bring you on, and we just hit the play button.
And no more special editions. We're just whatever anyone's got,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's better that way. And then we can have a little discussion at the end of it. And then, you know what I mean? Instead of having a big discussion at the start, we can have a little discussion at the end about the story that we've watched. And then that way, then Rabbi can get off and then go to his bed. Because I know it is late for him anyway. It's half 10 where he is. So,
yeah. Well, it was 25 past 11.
Oh, is it
20? 2 hours ahead. Yeah,
2 hours ahead. So yeah, he can hold on for as long as he can. But yeah, if we start early, if we start straight away, then nobody then has to leave. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no one misses out.
It's unfair on Rabbi because he does the trailers and then he doesn't get to stage. So yeah. So next week changes are afoot. We'll start straight away, folks. Wait till you see this. You won't believe it. You'll be here saying, "Oh, we're started already." Yeah. You'll be all wondering what the hell's happened. Well,
I'll believe it when I see it.
No, it's going to happen because I'm going to insist on it, to be quite honest with you. I'm going to insist on it because it's not fair because, he doesn't get to stay because it's so late. So, yeah, I'd rather we start straight away. Then if he needs to leave at the end, he can give his rating and then he can go. He's not in a hurry to go then that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There you go. And a few people have said they agree because they don't have the special edition. Yeah, I like the special editions myself, but you are right. We should be doing the normal editions because that's what everybody has, or the original. But we like the odd special edition anyway, though. It's good. It's good.
At least they keep the original, preserve the original ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I have the DVD there myself. It's just the TV that we have. We're getting a new TV as soon as, but can't use the earphones first, so I couldn't watch it on the TV. So I have to watch it on my bloody laptop. I actually have it muted at the moment, so that's why I'm able to talk. Because if I turn it on, watchers will probably hear it. Oh no, better not take the risk.
I was going to say, why are you taking the risk?
No, you're cancelling the stream, mate.
Yeah, and just look at Davidson now. Just look at Davidson in this scene.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
What is wrong with Gallifreyans?
I don't know. Well,
they're like politicians, aren't they? They just That's what Barry Letts based them on originally, and Terrence Dicks.
You politicians. Can see. But it's sort of that old sort of wives' tale of if anybody gets power, for so long, it just corrupts, and that's sort of an adage that just keeps getting proven, doesn't it?
Because the academy was supposed to be like Eton or Harrow, boarding school, and university.
Yeah, and that's like we were talking about before. Like that's what we love about the Doctor. That he's that renegade. He didn't want to be part of that.
Yeah.
And he knew if he stuck around.
Yeah. Originally, it was a mundane, wasn't he? Didn't like.
I think that's a really great performance there. You know, about the immortality. You know, I think it was a really, really good, engrossing scene.
Hey, he reversed the polarity of the neutron flow.
Yay! He reversed the polarity of the neutron flow.
It's 1 hour and 25 minutes. They had to get it in at some point.
Yeah. Well, we had No Not the Mind Probe as well, so that's another one. Excellent. Detonate. Too late, mate.
Oh dear, the old BBC's gone to screensaver mode.
And I think it's impressive that even he's corrupt and he's doing all these evil things, you can sort of understand with the way he's talking and the way Dix writes it, that in his head, he's being the good guy. He's doing what needs to be done.
Yeah. Time Lord Society must have been boring, though.
Yeah, I think it was it was only boring if you weren't part of the club.
Yeah.
If you're part of the club, you could do whatever you wanted. Is always the impression I've got.
Yeah. It's just based on the politicians, isn't it? Just based on modern politicians.
Well, not modern, just politicians.
Generally, politicians in general. You're gonna love your immortality.
My favourite TARDIS prop.
Doing this Patrick Troughton bit.
Love it.
He's just a walking teddy bear at times. Troughton. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That whole little bit there is almost a Three Doctors all over again.
Yeah.
Right, my thing's like nearly dead, my battery, so I'm going to see what it does, but it might just conk out.
Well,
So
do you
I'll
want to
see
give
what
your
happens.
ratings now then? Just in
Yeah,
case.
I'll do it now in case I do just conk out. I'll give this a 9, only because I think there's little bits where it drags a tiny bit, but otherwise that's the only thing I can really criticise. Because I do love how, like I said, everybody has a space, has time, has interactions, has little developments between characters. I love Davidson, like I've said a few times. And I think also it's really clever with the lore. It doesn't hit you over the head with it. Like, if you, there's enough there that if you don't know it all, you can follow. It doesn't just have the whole scenes of, here's 50 bits of lore that you have to digest. It's really clever how they have Rassilon. Like, they have so many things as well that it's just sort of weaved throughout the story, and you sort of go, okay, now I can follow. Like I said, I'll see how much longer this battery survives on this thing.
Indeed. No, good points. Yeah, I mean, it's like, if this was written by he who shall not be named, it would be like the most ham-fisted thing ever. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we already know it.
Works because the lore's characters and you see them on screen. It's not like an info dump.
Yeah.
You see
It unfolds before you as you go along through it.
You see Barusa, you see the Time Lords, like they're part of the story. They're not, like I said, they're not bits of information. And if you play in that playground, you can do lore, you can do continuity.
Rassilon and his mutton chops.
Yeah. I think it's quite imposing.
Yeah.
It's a bit Wizard of Oz, isn't it? The face.
Before he turned into Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, I prefer this version to Timothy Dalton's, quite honestly.
See, I thought he was brilliant. There was just not enough of him.
Yeah.
That was my thing. Like, as a person who knew Rassilon's name, but I'd never really experienced that character, I felt a little bit like, oh, that's all I get. Do you know?
Yeah, the last Rassilon reminded me too much of Barusa. It was like, am I looking at Barusa or Rassilon?
I love this scene here because the first Doctor knows what's going on more than the others.
Yeah.
So he's stealing with it, which is great.
Oh yeah, because it's a little folk tale as well, isn't it? This ending with the let's trick him into thinking he's won, thinking he's getting immortality when it's actually been trapped.
Sadako 24 says, "You believe that Chibnall deserves the immortality he seeks? Indeed, I do. He shall have it."
Oh please, have him become a statue in like a thing that he can't do out. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, but how would we know he's turned into a statue?
Well, he wouldn't be physically able to do anything. That's how we know he was a statue.
You mean like now?
He's disappeared for another
I think
2
that's so
years.
freaky.
It's the eyes, isn't it? That just freaks you out. It's such a simple thing as well. It's a very nice, simple thing to freak you out, but it works.
Freaky. I love that. I just always thought that was so freaky.
I do love the reaction in a minute when he goes, "Do you want it?" And they're like, "No."
No. Cheers.
I wonder what happened to them when they released Rassilon.
I've just realised, have you clicked? Troughton's literally hiding behind Pertwee. That's really cute. He's literally hiding behind him.
Yeah. Till next time. Yes. Next time.
The warmth he shows towards him, it's lovely.
Outsmarted by his former self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're getting excited for the 75th anniversary special, the 6,925 doctors.
Yeah, God, don't.
And half the companions are sitting in the corner sucking their thumbs.
Oh, God. Don't.
So the companions can compare. How many versions? How many people did yours get killed? Oh, mine got 5 killed. Mine got like 12 killed.
Yeah. I need to go back in the TARDIS to get back my safe space.
Oh yeah, mine wiped
All
out
of you.
the whole human race. Okay.
Yeah. The TARDIS is the panic room.
Timestamp is 1:35:57. 1:36. There we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of peace and quiet now. Bye. A bit of peace and quiet.
Oh, I preferred the old TARDISes going off.
Yeah, no, that's better.
Yeah.
That's what I loved about the 50th, the end, when you had all the 3 TARDISes stood next to each other.
Yeah, I mean, they could have, if they were updating it, they could have had like all the different TARDISes or something.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, an update.
Or they could have had the TARDISes stuck in the little whiz-bit thing.
Whiz-bit. I like that.
Whiz-bit thing, yeah.
Oh, and here we go, Doc. You need. I said, Doc, that's bad. Here you go, Doctor. You need to run soon.
You're in charge, baby. Bye.
To be fair, he does have the air of like a teenager here, where like the parents like, you got to have to do this job, and the teenager's like, I don't want to.
Matthew Pounder in the chat says, "Uh-oh, Maggie's back."
Oh, I had a great joke about that, about the SAA assault rifle the other day. I turned around and said, why did you have to fire it right-handed? It's because Maggie doesn't like anything to do with the left. Can you fire that gun right?
A bit like Maggie, though. Yeah, I can see why. It's a bit. She's easily tricked though, a bit in this. Like, I'm just gonna go in the TARDIS, which can move, which can work. Yeah, and I won't do out. But they've done that in the new one, I think, at times when he's like, I'll just pop into the TARDIS, and I'm like, why are you letting him do it? Like, it's so obvious he's gonna use it and go away. At least do the equivalent of like a clamping on it before he says that.
Yeah.
And we've got the line coming up that you probably know. Terrence was like, I need to put this line in.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it is a deadly story, isn't it?
I love the way it ends on the old theme as well.
Yeah. Right, well, let's get straight into it, I suppose, and get
And into the new one.
everybody's ratings, I suppose, and little review what they thought of it. We'll start with you, Charlie, ladies first.
I technically did mine because my battery's like on 1%, so I could go at any minute. So the lads go because I've already done mine.
Okay, well then go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, I will give it a 9. It would have been a 10 if there was more. It would have been 20 if Tom Baker was more in it, obviously. So, so I mean, it's just the fact that Tom isn't in it, and I would love to have had it. If he would have been in it, then it would have been a beyond 10. But yeah, 9 for me. It's just the quintessential story. It's the greatest celebratory story of Who. Just everything about it is fantastic. Everyone, yeah, that's how you write a good. And Terrence Dicks did really kind of kick this off and pick up the pieces from what was left of how it was started. It was quite a befuddlement, and it was put together really, really, really quickly. So hats off to all the people involved at the time. I think it was an amazing job. That's me.
Fantastic. PD Rich.
I give it a 9. It's also one of the last times you see the Time Lords until Trial of the Time Lords starts. So, I think it's always a good insight into Gallifreyan society. And it was also nice to see all the monsters and everyone coming together. It's just absolutely a shame that Tom Baker wasn't in it. But Tom being Tom. Anyway.
Yeah.
Daniel gives a 1 million. Great story. I give this a 10 out of 10. Listen, I think everybody has said everything on the panel. It is one of the best celebrations of Doctor Who. It's still first in my eyes, and I think second is actually an adventure in space and time for me. I know it's not like, you know,
that was good.
Related camp, but it's still a good. It's kind of like that has that kind of feel
it's that
for
modern
me.
version of the Five
Doctors. The Five Doctors is always going to be up there with fans.
I always thought, Space and Time. I always thought it was a bit better than the 50th anniversary Day of the Doctor. I always found
absolutely, 100%.
Yeah,
I was always more a fan of that than Day of the Doctor. I thought Day of the Doctor was nice, but you know, it wasn't.
I don't think it was. It could have delved a lot more into the lore. It was an ideal opportunity to involve more of the Doctors whilst they're still here, and they just didn't do that. Look, we understand there's a lot of the cast, and a lot of them don't look like what they used to.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many workarounds for that, you know. And I still think that the 8th Doctor should have been in that. I think he should have been the War Doctor.
Yeah.
But hey, you know, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was a missed opportunity, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It was enjoyable. It was good fun.
That would have been better. The ladies of Khan actually just resurrected him. You know, didn't alter him, just resurrected him and turned him into this kind of killing machine. Different take on it. Yeah.
Right, tomorrow, folks, we have a new Who. We've got obviously a Family of Blood. So that's next tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a good story. I like the. I mean, next week's one, as you know, I'm not a fan. But it'll be nice to see Patrick Troughton.
There's some Tarans, though, isn't it?
So I suppose, there's that. But yeah, it's not me favorite kind of special. So
most original Sontaran story.
We get it out of the way, and then eventually we will get around to Leah's time lash, because if we don't, he's going to keep telling us, what's time lash?
Justice for time lash.
Yeah, justice for time lash, me hole. Get away.
I did like Colin Baker's era, though.
Yeah, I know some people did. Yeah, in fairness, though, the episodes that we have watched of them so far have been pretty much impressed. I could see where they were trying to take his Doctor now. I understand it now. Obviously, as a kid, I didn't. But
I just
can't
like the
remember
pernickety arrogance of him. I just love that kind of.
Yeah, I do like the arrogance. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think he you know, his character definitely
reflects
improves on Big Finish. I think, you know,
but it
that's,
reflects who he really is, because he has that bit of arrogance about him as well. Sure, you heard what he said about you know who when she was announced. So I mean, look, we'll see. I'm enjoying him so far. He's okay.
Well, Pete Davidson and Colin are made up, so it's
Yeah, so we'll see what happens anyway. Yeah,
I still think Tom was dead. Was dead on. Give it a year, and if it doesn't work, change it.
But Peter is right, because he's
Killer off, I think is his word.
Yeah, I thought. You know what? I thought Peter was wrong in the beginning, but now I know he's dead right.
That's what I mean.
He was predicting the future. He was predicting the future.
He was vindicated. Yeah,
he vindicated himself.
That's it. Rightly so.
And there's egg on Tolin's face. So, but as I said, I think Tom was right.
I think we're gonna leave it there. I think we've said all we can say tonight. I suppose. But I want to thank everybody in the chat. I know I wasn't as active as I normally am, but I will be tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll make up for it. But the panel have been absolutely fantastic tonight, and everybody in the chat.
Yeah, Super John and Charlotte carried the can, and Adam as well.
That's it. I was listening. I was in and out. Trust me, I was listening. So I want to thank you, because you did a absolutely fantastic job, by the way. So if I ever was to go anywhere and there was a live stream, I know that you could handle it great, and you've done well. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. Moderators as well, thank you. I don't know if there was any nonsense in the chat, because I wasn't paying attention to the chat.
I kept a bit of an eye. I didn't see anything.
Yeah. So it looks like everybody had a good time. So thanks for joining me, all the moderators. Thanks for everything. And panel, say good night.
Good night, everyone.
Night, chat. Night, all. Have a good one. Stay safe.
And we'll see you all again tomorrow for New Who. Don't forget, it's Family of Blood. It's my favourite part. The fourth part is brilliant, because it kind of builds it all up. But the second part is absolutely fantastic. And the moral implications of sending young kids to war is highlighted in this episode. And I think, we tend to forget that they sent kids over.
Yeah, my great granddad was 14 when he joined.
Right about their age. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a true reflection, and it is heartbreaking, because when they're shooting the scarecrows, they obviously think they're real people, and you see the reaction of they're all crying, and they're it's sad to see, but that's what happened. That's what happened, and that's why any of them still alive. That's why we should always remember the ones that have passed away, and that's why they should always be remembered. Young kids sent over, unbelievable, man. But I love the story. It's a good story, and it's great how the Doctor tricks them in the end. I absolutely love it. Right, I'm gonna shut up now before I keep ranting on. So I'll say good night. Here we go. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Say good night, panel.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.